Seahawks meet the Raiders. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Criqui with Jim Moore. The last time these teams played in October, it was a track meet with Seattle winning 45-34. But now there's a changing of the guard at quarterback for the Seahawks. The oldest quarterback in the league, Warren Moon, is on the bench with bruised up ribs, and John Kitna, who's never thrown a pass in a regular season game in the NFL, will start. But he's an exciting guy. Jim had a great preseason.
Right, as you said, Don, he's going to throw his first regular season NFL pass today. He's smart, mobile, and has a good arm. Bob Bratkowski, the offensive coordinator, told us he's got kind of a magic about him, but Bratkowski has no idea how he's going to play today. He's very popular with his teammates, and they're really pulling for him.
Kitna, you see in action here, was the most valuable player in the World League Championship game, quarterbacking Barcelona to the league title. The Raiders are in the throes of a dismal season, and that has been compounded now by some real difficult situations among the players and the coaches, as Tim Brown, so upset with the offense and the way it's been going, says he might take it upon himself, Jim, to call plays.
Right, it's not a happy camp at the Raiders. You know, Tim Brown made those remarks last week after the Kansas City game that he was unhappy with the offense, that if things didn't change, he was going to call the plays. In my opinion, he was totally out of line. You can think a certain way, but for the good of the team, sometimes you got to keep your mouth closed. Now, things will open up today, but not like Jeff George or Tim Brown wants it to.
So we're almost set to go here in Oakland. Now we're going to send it back to New York to Greg Gumbel. Greg.
Hi, everyone. Let's
toss it. They'll receive to start the game. See, Broussard is back deep. There's Rusty Tillman, their special teams coach of the Raiders. Seahawks have really been victimized by poor special teams play. In fact, last week, one kick returner for the Ravens outgained the whole offense of the Seahawks. They gave up 2 kick returns for touchdowns, 2 punt returns for touchdowns. It cost the Seahawks the game. There is Cole Ford ready to kick off now for the Oakland Raiders. Not breaking through. It was a torrent of rain earlier today. Joe Bugle, a guy who's had a tough first season as head coach of the Raiders.
Well, Joe has really struggled. You know, we did that first game, and he was so optimistic, and now you talk to him at this stage of the season, and he really seems down to me.
Cincinnati has beaten Dallas 31-24. Here's the kickoff, a low line drive that caroms into the end zone. Well done by Ford. There will be no run back. And the Seahawks will put the ball in play, first down and 10 at their 20-yard line. As we look at the Seahawks on offense, from Central Washington at quarterback John Kitna. There he is. Never had a college scholarship. Out of Lincoln High in Tacoma. There's his offensive line. They've got new people on the right side, new starters because of injuries. In the backfield, Chris Warren will be the lone setback. They'll open in a 3 wide receiver set with Crumpler at tight end and Jim Moore. What do you think for the first play?
Well, you know what? I think they're going to do something that's going to keep it simple for Kitna. I wouldn't surprise seeing him keep the ball, running a bootleg, a sprint out pass, something like that.
That's what he does. He swings the ball out, and Crumpler has it. He's ahead for a Seahawks first down.
pass is complete.
As we look at the Oakland Raiders on defense, this is the last rated defense in the NFL, the number 2 pick in the entire draft last April. Darrell Russell starts at defensive end, along with Russell Maryland. They've had problems at linebacker. Folston now in at outside linebacker. The veteran corners, McDaniel and Lewis, longtime NFL players, Trapp and Turner are the safety. So a gain on the first play on the bootleg run of 13 yards and a first down. All right, Jim, you were good on that first one.
Yeah.
Give us the second play.
I think they're going to run the ball here, you know.
Timeout. Oakland. First team timeout.
Bob Bratkowski, the offensive coordinator, and this is really smart, I think, on the Seattle offensive staff's part. They're going to keep it simple for Kitna early so he can have some success. Run the ball, sprint him out, run some bootlegs like he did on that first play, and give him easy throws so he can have success and build his confidence. In that first play, he did a bootleg. He came out to his right, threw a nice little flat route to Carlester Crumpler, and that's what they've got to do with him until he gets that confidence and it'll carry him through the rest of the game.
There's Bratkowski to your far left, son of the former Green Bay quarterback, Zeke Bratkowski. The Raiders have 13 players on the field, 2 more than it's allowed. Now Kitna and the Seahawks set up. Looks like he might be changing a play early. Chris Warren tries the middle of the Raider defense, breaks off tacklers and gets ahead for a gain of 11, almost 12 yards. And another Seahawk first down as free safety Eric Turner brought him down.
One of the things that's really hurt the Raider defense throughout the course of the season has been sloppy tackling. Last week against Kansas City, the Kansas City running backs broke tackles time after time. And here again, Warren did the same thing. He bust up through the line there. People got shots at him there. They fall off, and he continues to run for good yardage.
Again, they go to the run. This time, Chris Warren is stopped as he stutter steps at the line of scrimmage. Andre Bruce, number 99, was the lead tackler for the Raiders. He was a former #1 draft choice in the NFL. One of 18 former NFL #1 draft choices.
Yeah, they've got to have more #1 draft picks on their team than any team in the NFL. They've got 8 of their own picks, guys that they picked in the first round, and they got 10 guys that other teams selected in the first round of the draft.
It's always been a Raider philosophy that if guys are picked in the first round, even if they fail with another team, they had to have a lot to get picked that high, so the Raiders tried them. They've had a lot of success picking up other teams. Now, Kittner has a problem getting the play in motion. On a 2nd down and 8 play, he's knocked down for a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, it looked to me like he had trouble with the snap there, and we'll take a look at it here on the replay, but there's nobody in the backfield right there. I mean, he's going to throw the football. There's no back to hand off to, but he pulled out of the center a little bit too soon, and they had a problem there with the snap. Now, that's one thing that you might find with a young quarterback like this and a center is to get that coordination going with the snap, but it's vital because it starts every play.
So Dennis Erickson, coach of the Seahawks, he has 11 different starters from when they played the Raiders in October because of injuries. Kittner is sacked back at the 40-yard line. Albert Lewis, a 15-year veteran quarterback, 4-time All-Pro player, is the man who gets through and makes the play.
Well, this is going to be Albert Lewis. He's lined up out here in the slot, and he's going to come on a blitz from the right side. Nobody blocks him. And again, I think the Raiders are trying to put some pressure on Kittner, a young guy in his first start, and it's important that they do this, and they did a good job there. But somebody's got to pick up Lewis, or he's got to get rid of the ball quickly.
Ron Stark back to punt. It's a nervous time for Seattle when they punt the ball. Jermaine Lewis ran back 2 for the Ravens against them for touchdowns last week. This one will roll inside the Raider 20-yard line as Orlando Truitt has to look at it. Let it roll dead at the 17. So the Raiders go on offense as the NFL on NBC continues.
For a crisp, clean, classic taste by the 1998 Honda Accord, an Accord like no other. By Microsoft, where do you want to go today? And by American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more.
The Raiders here in full battle regalia as Jeff George now comes out as quarterback. Oakland. He has thrown for 25 touchdowns this season, just 9 interceptions. And he's going to throw on first down. Guns it downfield and gets the ball into wide receiver James Jett's hands. His 40th catch of the year is out to the 31-yard line for a first down.
One of the things that that Jeff George and the Raider offensive coaches told us is they feel like they've got some good matchups today against the 2 linebackers that are starting that don't normally start for the Seahawks, and Fred Thomas, the corner, who's a backup, and they're picking on Thomas that time with the pass to Jett.
Thomas in for the injured Sean Springs. George picks up the handoff, and then a handoff to Napoleon Kaufman. The snap fumbled by George, and he's quickly hit and hard by Sally Amua.
Come on.
As we look at the offensive front of the Raiders, Wisniewski has been a Pro Bowl player for them. Lincoln Kennedy's played well at right tackle. Jeff George at quarterback. Napoleon Kaufman is over 1,100 yards rushing this season. Chad Levitt, rookie from Cornell, starting at fullback today. Loss on the broken play, makes it 2nd down now. They need 14. A pitch back to Kaufman, cutting back. Napoleon Kaufman is into the secondary of Seattle and taken down at the 32-yard line. The Seahawks on defense. This is a team that has the 9th rated defense in the NFL and the 3rd rated offense. Special teams is hurt badly. Sinclair is heading to the Pro Bowl. He leads them with 9 sacks. Adams has played well.
3rd and 7.
Dean Wells, the middle linebacker, has been a big contributor on defense. And they were extolling how Willie Williams, the former Steeler, has played at right cornerback. And he's played well, and he's one of the team leaders. 3rd down. George needs 8. Gets a lot of time to look things over. Dumps it off downfield. A catch is made. And let's see where the spot is. Linesman comes in, and it might be just short. They're going to spot it around the 40 where he's coming in. That was number 84, Kenny Shedd, who made the catch.
One of the things that both Tim Brown and Jeff George felt like they should do on third down is get 3 wide receivers in the game and open up that offense. That time they brought Kenny Shedd in as a third wide out, and George hit him for the first down. What looks like the first down. I think they're going to take a measurement.
The officials are coming for a measurement.
One thing they're doing that the Seahawks are doing, Don, today, Willie Williams, who's normally the right corner, so far in this first series for the Raiders, he has gone wherever Tim Brown has gone. So it looks to me like he's going to shadow Tim Brown. If Tim Brown lines up on the left, he's going to be in the left. If he's in the right, he's going to be on the right. They're going to put Williams on Brown.
They get the first down easily with the mark. The linesman originally came in at the 40, but then they mark it at the 41. The Raiders get their first down of the game with 9:52 to play in a scoreless first quarter. October 26th at the Kingdom in Seattle. The shootout. Warren Moon passing for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns against the Raiders. In an 11-point Seattle win. The handoff. Hoffman, former University of Washington All-American, takes it across the 45-yard line. His first down run is good for a gain of 6 yards. Matt Labonte from Oregon, number 99, makes the stop.
Well, you know, the Seahawk defense, as you mentioned, Don, you know, they're ranked 9th in the league in total defense, and they've had a pretty good year, but right now they've just been decimated with injury. They've got 5 starters who are not playing today, and the Raiders are going to really try to take advantage of this.
Napoleon Kaufman, you see 5 yards per carry on the average. He broke a 55-yard touchdown run in the first meeting against Seattle. And they go right back to him. Another terrific defensive play. The middle linebacker, the 5th-year middle backer from Kentucky, Dean Wells, makes the stop. Loss on the play of 3 yards back to the 45-yard line.
Well, one of the new linebackers playing for the Seahawks is number 56, the right linebacker for the Seahawks, James Logan, and he helps Dean Wells there on the play. Michael Barber, the left outside linebacker, is another young linebacker. 2 young outside linebackers that really haven't played much this year for the Seahawks.
And now on third down and needing 7. A heavy rain starts to fall again as George takes a quick drop, makes a throw. It's picked off by Bellamy. Jay Bellamy's on the run. Seattle might have been offside. There is a penalty marker down. If the play goes, the Seahawks have the lead. But let's see what the penalty marker's over. Were they drawn offside or was it an offside? One of the problems the Raiders have had when they've had adversity early in a game, it seems to take the spirit out of them. It is a call against Seattle. The interception and subsequent return for a touchdown are negated.
Yeah, well, the Raiders got a real break right here because this was not a good throw by Jeff George. And here again, he's got a long count, hard count. The Seahawk defensive linemen are jumping. It looks like 3 of them jumped. Jeff George was probably giving them a hard count there. He had about 3rd and 5 to go. This isn't going to be quite a first down. It's going to be 3rd and about a yard.
So instead of a 50-yard return for a touchdown for Dennis Erickson Seahawks, the penalty negates the play. It now becomes 3rd down and a long 1 for Oakland. George takes a look, dumps it off, gets Napoleon Kaufman, and he's ahead down to the 45-yard line. Hoffman gets ahead for a gain of 5 yards, and the Raiders drive on.
Right, the Raiders got a break there on that offside, so they're continuing to move the ball. One of the things that the Seahawk coaches told us was because of the new guys they got in there, they got a backup safety, a backup corner, 2 backup linebackers playing for them. They've got to keep things simple. They can't give them too much to think about because they're worried about guys making mistakes. So they're going in with a couple of defensive fronts. They're going in with a minimum of coverages, and they're going to try to be very simple, especially on 1st and 2nd down.
And a parallel to that is on offense, Jim. The Raiders are known for having a very basic offense. It's not complicated in this age of the run and shoot and the West Coast offense. The Raiders go with the basic run the ball power plays and also with the 2 wide receiver deep throw sets.
Right, normally you see on 3rd down situations a team like the Raiders, this is Ray Perkins, the offensive coordinator of the Raiders, but normally in 3rd down situations, even teams that just go with 2 wideouts will bring in a 3rd wideout, but the Raiders have not done that up to this point. Today, both 3rd down situations, they've had 3 wideouts in there.
Second down and 9 for the Raiders. 44-yard line of Seattle. No score. First quarter. George stands in the pocket. Triggers to an open Ricky Dudley. And Dudley, an emerging all-pro at tight end, comes down with the ball. His 43rd catch of the year. And it's first down and 10 for the Raiders.
Well, the Seahawks are going to do a zone blitz. They're going to rush 5 people right there, a linebacker. They're going to drop a couple linemen, and they play zone behind it. If you can pick up the rush in a situation like that, you're going to find somebody open because a zone is voided. There's one less guy back there, and they did that time with the pass to Dudley.
Good for a 26-yard gain, a 4-year basketball starter at Ohio State. Dudley, a tremendous target, stands almost 6'7". Hoffman looks to run the ball and does as he tries it to the near side, and he's cut down in a good open field tackle. Williams comes up to make the play. As we now look at the ticker, the most remarkable scores there. The Colts blasting Miami, the Jets routing Tampa Bay. Cincinnati makes a bad season more respectable as the Cowboys continue to fall. And as mentioned by Greg, the Jacksonville's now in the playoffs with that win. Big showdown at Detroit next week. The Jets and the Lions will be playing. Second down and 11. Jeff George calmly standing in the pocket, floats the ball too high. Heavy rain is falling. It's tough to get a grip. He's looking at one of his big backs, Jerome Davidson, 48.
Right, this rain will definitely have an effect on the game, especially the passing game. It makes it a little bit more difficult to hang onto the football, to get your accuracy. It even affects the defensive backs because they're a little bit of at a disadvantage anyway, and with wet ground, they have a hard time reacting and breaking on the routes by the wide receivers. As we know, there's already been 2 fumble snaps so far this quarter.
Jeff George is 4 of 5 throwing the ball today for 51 yards, the 26-yarder. The Dudley, the big play in this drive. Third down 11. He shoots for the end zone. Man is there, and the ball is taken in. Did he get it inbounds? He did. Now the ruling that Orlando Truitt did make a touchdown catch, that he was pushed out of bounds after he caught the ball. And so the Raiders, in a driving rain, take the ball right down the field. But you'll remember the one play that was negated by a penalty, almost a touchdown return of an interception by Seattle.
I don't know about that catch right there. You've got to get 2 feet in. I saw 1 foot in, but I'm not sure he had 2. Both officials, it looked like to me during the play, were kind of trying to get out of the way of the players, and I'm not so sure they had an accurate look at the play.
Did he have any feet in?
But
the ruling is he was forced out, that with the catch he would have been in bounds had he not been pushed out of bounds. Officials right on the play. So it does go, a touchdown pass. Jeff George's 26th scoring throw of the season. Ford in what is now an intense rain again. Hits the extra point up and through. The Raiders take the lead 7-0, and they'll kick off as the NFL on NBC continues.
Play Orlando Truitt, the wide receiver, is going to come down and do a little stutter step there on number 23, Dexter Ziegler. A little stutter step and an out route. He does an out and up, catches the ball. They ruled that he would have come down with both feet in had he not been forced out, so that's why they called it a touchdown. Dexter Ziegler was on the Seattle practice squad 5 weeks ago.
And now Broussard takes it straight ahead on the kick return, brings it back across the 25, so John Kitna and the Seahawk offense will try again.
Got shut out by the Kansas City Chiefs. Tim Brown commented about how they needed to open up their offense. He said it was sad, it was embarrassing. He said let's go with 3 wide receivers and go with it. On every third down play, that touchdown drive, on a third down passing situation, the Raiders came in with 3 wide receivers. I didn't see him do it once last week against the Chiefs.
They have indeed, Jim, opened up their offense, and with good results. They lead 7-0, and here's Kitna on the run. And he guns the ball away, and they're going to give him an intentional grounding. He's pointing to somebody. He had a receiver in the area. Well, when Walt Coleman's the referee, and what's the call?
You know, on that call now, if the quarterback is out of the pocket, if he's sprinting out of the pocket, he can get rid of the ball as long as...
Intentional grounding on the offense, number 7. Lost it down. Second down.
Now you see the quarterback. Now he's going to a little play action fake. Now he's going to scramble. He's okay there to throw it. I think what he called is he's got to get it close to the line of scrimmage. He's got to get it up there in the vicinity of the line of scrimmage. That time it looked to me like he came up too short. I'm sure that's what the referee called, because he was definitely out of the pocket. When you're out of the pocket, you can throw it away. But it has to be up in the vicinity of the line of scrimmage.
And he was definitely short of that. Raider pass rushers will be teeing off now. Second down and 22. As the rookie starter, Kitna, fires errantly to the near side in the general direction of his tight end, Crumpler. Points to himself, says Kitna, bad throw, but another pressure throw comes up.
You know, I got a feeling about this guy, Kitna, Don. I feel, now he hasn't had a whole lot of success here so far this first quarter. I really think, it didn't look to me like he shook yet. It seems to me like he's still got some confidence on that throw. He said, hey, I messed it up. I really think this guy plays with a lot of confidence and a good presence.
George plays with great confidence so far. He's hit 5 of 6 throws for the Raiders, Jeff George, for 68 yards in the game's only touchdown. On third and long, they go to Chris Warren and try to catch the Raiders in an all-out rush. Raiders knock it down, led by big Chester McLaughlin. And so the Seahawks have to punt the ball.
I think here again on this call, third and about 20, they're again trying to make it a little bit easier on Kitna, to try to keep from him trying to get the 20 yards on one play. They're going to run the draw. Hey, if they break it for 20 yards, they get lucky, keep the ball. Otherwise, they don't make it and they punt.
Back again, as you saw, for the Raiders, the super fast Orlando Truitt, number 88. Ron Stark, he was a 5-time Pro Bowl punter. With the Colts, he hits one downfield, and it caroms out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. Stark had retired, and he was called back because of injuries to the Seattle Kickers. Gil Brandt breaks down the Chiefs and analyzes their dominance this season. Plus, we feature the Steelers' Jerome Bettis. Also, vote for who you think is the Coach of the Year. It's all at MSNBCSports.com. Jim, your Coach of the Year so far?
I'll tell you what, after yesterday's games, it might be Jim Fassel. I think he's a tremendous job with the Giants.
He did. They were 6-10 last year. Win the division this year, and Napoleon Kaufman's on the run.
One of the things that the Raiders felt like they should do by opening up their offense, by getting people spread out, it left Kaufman back there alone. You can see Chad Leavitt, number 31, was flanked out, and then he came back in motion. But what that does is that keeps defensive people out of that core, because they have to go out to cover the wide out, or the people that are split out. That's less people to tackle Kaufman when he runs the football.
They finally did tackle him, but they did it 9 yards downfield. Second down and 1 for the Raiders, who lead 7-0. And again, a jolting hit by Jay Bellamy. Bellamy almost had a memory in this game, but it was negated by a penalty when he ran back the interception.
Well, they're running the football here to Kaufman, just a straight handoff, but Bellamy, the strong safety, is going to be sitting right up around the line of scrimmage, and he comes up and makes a great tackle. Boy, that's a perfect tackle at the line of scrimmage by the strong safety, Jay Bellamy.
He's had to step up because of the injury to Benny Blades, who's out now on injured reserve. One of the many injured Seahawks. Third down and short. Here's the throw. A penalty marker is sent up in the air, and apparently it came before the snap of the ball.
Now the Raiders were going to throw this.
Ball starts prior to the snap. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Left guard Steve Wisniewski was in motion before the snap of the ball, so Joe Bugle sees his team misfire.
That critical situation, you know, third down and 1. You've got good field position here at about the 50-yard line. You scored on your first series. You're moving the ball on this series, and then you get a penalty like that by a veteran like Wisniewski. It really shouldn't happen.
But it did, and the ball is placed at the 45-yard line. They're down and 7 now for Jeff George and the Raiders. Gets a block, breaks it, first down and more. As Kaufman is all the way down to the 38-yard line of Seattle, whipping off a gain of over 20 yards on the run.
Well, let me tell you what's happening on that play, Don. See that it's third down and long now, and the Raiders have been playing with 3 wideouts and throwing the ball prior to this play. That time they stayed with 2 backs and 2 wideouts, but what the Seahawks did, they put in an extra defensive back to defend them on third down, so that makes them a little bit weaker against the run. The Raiders took advantage of it and ran the football for the first down.
See the American Conference rushing leaders. Terrell Davis of the Denver Broncos leads the NFL. George on a bootleg stands in. He's going for it all. He's got a man out there. Touchdown Raiders. Getting the ball into James Jett. His 12th touchdown of the season. He's been a scoring machine for a Raider team in the throes of a long year, but right now the Raiders looking awful good.
Well, the left corner, Fred Thomas, number 22 there for the Seahawks. He's actually the third left corner that's played that spot for the Seahawks this year. Sean Springs, then they had Jeremy Lincoln, Fred Thomas. Fred Thomas was really picked on last week by Baltimore for a couple of scores, and right there he had pretty good coverage, but he didn't make a play on the ball. You got to, if you cover the guy, you got to make a play. Got to find a way to knock it down or intercept it.
James Jett just took it away from him, and the Raiders look to build on their lead to a 14-0 advantage, which they do. So with 2:38 to play in the first quarter, the Raiders in command, 14-0.
Okay, here's Jett right here, and he's just going to run a post route right down the middle, and Thomas, number 22, has got him man for man. Now the strong safety, Bellamy, is up there in the flat. There's nobody in the middle. When there's nobody in the middle, you got to take advantage of that as an offensive team and hit that post route for the long one. And they did it there. Again, Fred Thomas had decent coverage, but he didn't make a play on the ball. Look, right there, right there. All he's got to do is go up and knock it down or intercept it. I thought before it happened that he was going to pick it off. He had good position to pick it off, and the ball goes by him. Some guys can cover and not make plays. That time, Thomas did not make the play.
Everybody jumped all over Tim Brown, and Jeff George was saying they wanted to open up the offense like it was earlier in the season, but today they did indeed open it up. And at the moment, they have really ripped the Seattle defense, which grades out in the top third in the league.
Yeah, but it's not the same defense.
Yeah, they got a lot of different guys because of injuries.
Well, you take away Benny Blades, and you take away Sean Springs and Cortez Kennedy and Chad Brown and Winston Moss. These are 5 defensive players that are not playing today. It's hard to survive with those guys out of the lineup.
Ford kicks off. This is Broussard to the 10. Blockers. Across the 20, and he gets to the 21-yard line. NBC tonight kicks off with a special National Geographic, The Great White Shark, at 7. Then after Dateline, from the creator of Jurassic Park and the Lost World, it is the network premiere of Congo at 9, 8 Central on NBC tonight.
Well, now, you know, this is a bad situation. The Seahawks didn't want to get in this situation. They got a young quarterback starting his first game, first time he's played all year, basically, and now they're down 14-0. That's not a good situation for Kitten. Not a good situation for the team, but it's tough on Kitten.
Now they're going to find out a lot more about him. He goes back to the run, and Chris Warren, with both hands on the ball, takes it at the Raiders and bangs out to the 27-yard line. A gain of 6 yards on the play. John Kitten, his wife Jennifer, is here today. That's her on the left. They have a little 6-week-old son, Jordan. That's his dad, Martin, on the right.
And his mom is home babysitting.
Yeah, babysitting Jordan. You could care less about Dad's NFL debut, right?
No, Jordan not worried about what's happening out here in this football field.
2nd down and 4. They go back to Warren. 2 hands on the ball on a wet day, and the Raiders stuff the run.
Well, you know what the Seahawks have got to do now. They're down 14-zip. They've got Kidney in the ball game. If they're going to honestly try to find out what this kid can do, they can't panic at this point. They can't say, "Hey, Kidney, you got to go out and win the game by yourself. We're going to start throwing every down." They got to stay with their game plan for a while here anyway, and let him just get his confidence going and do what they prepared him to do all week.
They talked about him having all the ingredients: strong arm, good mobility, smart, confident. This, though, is his first NFL regular season start. His numbers in the preseason were almost beyond phenomenal. Here's a throw over the middle, right to James Trapp, and the Raiders are on the run. Trapp takes it inside the 15-yard line. And so Kitna with a disastrous throw into coverage, and James Trapp picks it off, and the Raiders look to build their lead. But it's now 14-0.
Yeah, James Trapp's a strong safety. Now, they got a blitz. You can see 2 guys coming right up the middle there. Trapp's just sitting back there in the middle of the field. They were in man-to-man coverage, but Trapp was playing that deep middle zone. What happened there was Kitna just threw it too high and right into Trapp's arm. Actually, Kitna comes over and gets in on the tackle right there. Tough guy. Bad throw, but a good tackle.
But the tackle was made at the 14-yard line, so the Raiders challenge again. They lead the game 14-0 with 1 minute and 2 seconds to play in the first quarter. Seattle looked like a playoff team, but the Seahawks have lost 4 straight games. They're in trouble now as Napoleon Kaufman tries to cut back, nowhere to go. It's knocked down for a loss of about 2 yards by Dan Saliamua. Kansas City playing for home field advantage in the AFC out in front of the Chargers 7-0. Green Bay up on Carolina.
How about Plummer? That Plummer's had a, since he took over that starting spot for Arizona, he's had some very impressive statistics. I believe that guy's a winner.
He surely was at Arizona State, and he's been making things happen since they put him in the lineup. No team has had more tough losses this year than the Arizona Cardinals. George throws to Tim Brown, and he heads inside the 10-yard line and down to the 6. Gain on the play of almost 8 yards. Tim Brown cutting across the middle, cutting away from a double team.
Well, the Seahawks are keeping it simple on 1st and 2nd down, and they were in a very simple defense right there. And the Raiders took advantage of it.
And that'll do it for the first 15 minutes of play. The Raiders in command 14-0 and challenging for more.
Okay.
Quarterback Jeff George, who's thrown for 2 touchdowns in this game as the Raiders lead it 14-0. Now they're challenging as they're inside the 10-yard line. 3rd down and 3 for the first down. 3rd and 6 for a touchdown. George fires. Ball is tipped. Ricky Dudley had his hands on it, couldn't hold on.
Yeah, now what he tried to do there was just hit Dudley. That's what they like to do down here in the goal line area. They like to go to Dudley or Brown. Brown's the #1 guy, but here they're trying to get Dudley open in a zone. And it goes right through Dudley's hands. Now the ball's a little bit wet, but that's not an excuse there. Dudley should have caught that football for a touchdown. It was a very good pass by Jeff George.
Yeah, the ball was right there. It's been an odd day of weather, torrents of rain. When Seattle's had the ball, it's poured nonstop. When the Raiders have it, the sun just broke through. Ford. It's wide right. He has not had a good year, has Cole Ford. He is now 12 of 21 on field goal attempts. His kicking has cost the Raiders some games, and it's frustrated Joe Bugle as it did on that attempt.
And Joe's going to react here. This is a gimme field goal kick. As tough a year as he's had, those kind of things.
He tried to wish it in, though, Jim, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but can't do it from that sideline. I found that out a lot of times.
Like trying to talk to a hook off the tee. It won't listen. The AFC playoff picture coming more into focus. The Steelers, who keep finding a way week after week, challenging Kansas City. Denver at 11-3, but the Chiefs right now have the tiebreaker. The Broncos next time out at San Francisco. Kitna with the sun shining takes a look, gets time, and then with nowhere to go, good coverage by the Raiders. The young quarterback has to eat the ball and take it to the 20-yard line. He actually lost a yard on the play. Andre Bruce was on him quickly.
Yeah, Kitna has not been very impressive to this point. Of course, he's down 14-0, and that puts a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And I'm sure he feels that pressure that he's got to get this team back in the football game. It's a shame from the Seahawks standpoint or his standpoint. If you're a Seahawks fan, that you got down 14-0 because it's just tough for a young quarterback to perform in a situation like this.
Broussard, the lone setback. Kitna on 2nd down and over 10. All-out blitz, dumps it off. Broussard catches the ball somehow. He's still on the run, and Steve Broussard weaves his way across the 30 out to the 31-yard line. Broussard did that all by himself.
Broussard did it all by himself, Don. It's a screen pass. You're going to see Broussard going to step right there, and he's going to block and then be there for the screen. He makes a real nice
off
catch.
His helmet.
Unbelievable. An unbelievable catch right there. And he's got great elusiveness in the open field. And like you say, he did that all himself, made the first down. You guys had a good year, Broussard.
Yes, he has. Look at his making a lot of catches, running well with the ball. Here they go to Lamar Smith, another good runner as he gets ahead of some yards across the 30. Lamar Smith missed a number of games with a leg bone fracture earlier this year, but they like him a lot and want to re-sign him. He's a free agent after this season.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a decision there because he's an unrestricted free agent. They probably want him back. Dennis Erickson said they're going to play him a lot today. They've still got Chris Warren back under contract with a pretty big contract, and then Broussard. So they've got 3 running backs that are pretty good football players.
They're going to go to Galloway soon. He's at the top of your screen, Joey Galloway. The best Seattle receiver. Here's a throw near side. The connection is made. On 2nd down and 8, the ball is caught by fullback Max Strong. He's to the 38-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 3. The tackle made by Eric Turner.
It's really important for the Seahawks with this kid Kitna. First of all, they've got to protect. They got to keep people out of his face so he's got some time to sit back there and make the right decisions. Then they've got to give him routes by his receivers that he can complete. Not tough routes, but easy routes, easy throws for him.
Again, they go with 3 wide receivers. We'll see what kind of a throw he has here on 3rd down and short. Here comes the rush. They give him time. He makes the connection. That's Galloway on the run. Joey Galloway loses a shoe and takes it all the way down inside the 25-yard line. They'll spot him out of bounds right at the 26. Actually, somebody lost his muff.
Earlier in the game, Don, they brought Albert Lewis off the slot. You're going to see him coming in from the outside, and he got a sack on Kitna. That time, he did the same blitz. He lined up on the slot, came from the outside, but the left tackle, Jones, got out there and blocked him, gave Kitna time to throw, and he hit Galloway on that crossing route.
The hand warmer, the muff, gave him a false target. The guy grabbed that and came off.
I see that.
Tearaway jerseys are now illegal. Maybe muffs will be someday. Here is a handoff to Lamar Smith. Not much happening. The emotion of the game has turned somewhat. The missed field goal by 4 that would have given the Raiders a 17-0 advantage. And now Kitna starts to move the Seahawks.
Well, this is just a basic handoff to the left side, and I think the guy that messes up here is Walter Jones, the left tackle. He's blocking Andre Bruce man-to-man, and he just kind of fell to his knees, and Andre Bruce came off the block and made the tackle. That's a good play by Bruce, not a good block by the rookie Walter Jones.
Who they believe will be a star, a high #1 draft choice out of Florida State. It is 2nd down and 9. Raiders setting up to blitz, and they're coming with everybody. They go to a draw, and Lamar Smith breaks it. He's down inside the 20 and down to the 16-yard line. So on 2nd down and 9, a good play call gets almost enough for a 1st down. We'll see where they spot it.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to come with the blitz here on 2nd long, and it looks to me, we'll see Fredrickson, the linebacker, coming there. It looks to me like their game plan is get the Seahawks in long yardage situations, get the young quarterback having to make a big play for a 1st down, and let's come after him and put the pressure on him. Right there, the Seahawks fooled him with the draw. Good call by Bob Bratkowski, the offensive coordinator.
I think your observation earlier, Jim, bears repeating. Kitna had not lost his composure when things weren't going well. Now he fires to the end zone, and McKnight drops the ball. As Kitna, he's got a gun. He triggered that tight spiral in on a line drive. It could have been a touchdown if McKnight held on.
Well, here's McKnight, and he's running down there on McDaniel. He's going to a little fake inside and come to the outside. He kind of pushes McDaniel off right there. They actually could call that if the officials saw it. That could be let's see here if he should catch it. It's a pretty good throw by Kitna. You bet he should have caught it. I think he was a little bit concerned about staying in bounds. Exactly. Lost his concentration on the ball.
2nd down and 10 at the 15-yard line. Seahawks with the ball, down 14-0. Back to the draw. And again, Lamar Smith runs well. He gets it down inside the 10-yard line. Eric Turner and James Trapp, the safeties, get him down.
I think the point you just made, Don, a minute ago about the fact that Kitna has not lost his composure. Just from up here, you can just see the fact he's not rattled. I mean, he's got confidence. He feels like he can win this game and get this thing done. And I think that's got to be vital right now for this football team and for him.
Very important drive to get on the board. Dennis Erickson has had a tough year with all the injuries. A good football coach. Coached 2 national championship teams at Miami and Florida. On 3rd down, Kitna throws a timing pattern. And no flag. The coverage was good. He was looking at Mike Pritchard and Perry Carter, who's had some tough moments. He certainly did in the earlier meeting between the Raiders and the Seahawks at Seattle. Covers well, number 20, Perry Carter.
And he was all over Pritchard that time. For a minute, I thought it was going to be a pass interference, but he kind of took his hands off at the last second, so he had pretty good coverage. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Pritchard's going to do a little out fake and then try to beat Carter to the inside. Now down there in that area when you're playing man for man, it's very important as a defensive back. Don't let that receiver get inside. Pritchard got inside, but the pass was off.
Field goal attempt is up and good by Todd Peterson, who has now hit 19 of 24 this season. So the Seahawks get points and trail 14-3.
By Citizen, today more than ever, Citizen is how the world tells time. And by Compact, the most popular computer in the world.
Scoring on a 27-yard field goal by Todd
And
Peterson.
back. It isn't Halloween. It's Raider fans.
Todd Peterson going to kick
One of the
off.
most loyal are here today. I mean, they're really getting even better at these outfits.
Kenny Shedd,
They definitely lead the league in
Orlando Troop.
skeletons.
Yeah, that crossbone.
Peterson, who hit the field goal, a 35-yarder, kicks off. This is Kenny Shedd, who has a touchdown reception today. Making it, and he's in across the 25-yard line and close to the 30.
Kenny Shedd took the kickoff
Jeff
at the
George,
6-yard
two
line.
touchdown throws, will come back out with the Raider offense in a moment. Right now, it is off. Field is wet. Raiders lead it 14-3, and they have the ball first down and 10 at their 29-yard line. Jeff George opening up the offense and putting up the numbers, including 2 touchdown throws. Kaufman has to cut back, and he loses his footing. There's a loss on the play of a yard. The NFL on NBC is back next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time when Bruce Smith and the Buffalo Bills travel to Green Bay to take on Brett Favre and the defending world champion Packers. That's the NFL on NBC next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time.
Kickoff return.
Brett Favre, when he came out of Southern Mississippi, was the 3rd quarterback picked. These 2 teams picked ahead of him to pick quarterbacks. You know who they are?
Tell me.
Todd Marinovich and Dan McGuire. Jeff George, who was the #1 player picked in the entire draft, fires downfield and hits Tim Brown. What a play. Ball on the field, and the Raiders have it. Now the Seahawks have it. It is going to be, I think, Seattle's ball, but we'll wait and see. Michael Barber was the guy who finally ended up with it. So a spectacular pass play results in a fumble and a Seattle recovery.
Well, what happens here is Jeff George is going to come straight back, a little play fake to Kaufman, gets good pressure. He's going to scramble. He's going to scramble to the right. Now, he can make these kind of throws. Going to his right, bam, he fires that thing down there to Brown. Nice catch by Brown, but 27, Willie Williams knocks it out of there. It bounces around for a while, and the Seahawks finally come up with it. That's a fine play by Willie Williams, 27, getting that ball out of Brown's hands there after he caught it. See, Brown has to adjust. You see 81 there moving around. Now he's going to stop. Now he's going to adjust. When he sees George scramble, he has to adjust. Nice play by Brown, but good job by Williams getting it out.
Willie Williams, an unrestricted free agent who started last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As mentioned earlier, Erickson said he's been one of our best contributors. Kitna stands in, lets it go long. Another interception. He throws it right downfield to Terry McDaniel. Another ball on the field. Raiders think they have it, and they do. So Kitna putting the ball up way over his target again, right to Terry McDaniel. And the Raiders, one play later after turning it over, get it right back.
Giveaways, which was the 4th worst in the AFC. They've already had 2 interceptions today. 19 or 21 now after the 2 interceptions today. 21 of those giveaways were interceptions. That's tied for very low in the National Football League as far as interceptions are concerned.
Dennis Erickson seeing a wild game with a young quarterback. The Raiders with an established veteran, Jeff George, who's having a tremendous year. 27 touchdown throws, including 2 today. And here's another pick. It's taken by Darrell Williams, only his 9th of the year. He leads the NFL. There's also a penalty marker down. Seattle might have been offside. If that's the case, that'll be negated, and that'll be the 2nd interception of George. It'll be taken away by him. An offside penalty. Remember, Bellamy intercepting and running it back for a touchdown, but it was no play because of offside.
Well, that's like you say, Don, that's two interceptions, one for a touchdown, negated because defensive linemen
Offsides on the defense, number 98, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
There's Adams, the left defensive tackle, and he's a little bit too eager. He's definitely offsides, definitely across that line of scrimmage before the ball snapped. Tommy Brazier, the defensive line coach for the Seattle Seahawks, cannot be very happy right now.
First down and 5. Jeff George stands in, and he is going to be sacked back at the 29-yard line. Matt LaBounty playing some very good football. Puts the pressure on and is credited with the sack.
Matt LaBounty, number 99, is coming in from the inside position right there, but the right end, Philip Daniels, coming in from the right side, also puts good pressure on George, and George just kind of falls down before he gets sacked.
They might give it to Daniels. The sack, he was the first guy to knock George off balance. Might be half a sack each way. At any rate, it is second down and 14 for the Raiders. They lead in the second quarter, 14-3. Hoffman running wide. And again, good run pursuit led by Dan Saliamua, who's played terrific football, stepping in for the injured Cortez Kennedy. Saliamua, the former KC chief, has really been a standout.
He really has. You know, I think it took him a few games to get adjusted to the Seahawk defense, but in the last few weeks, he's played, I think, his best football of the year. And whenever you see a defensive lineman lined up inside make a tackle over by the sideline, you know this guy is hustling, he's got excellent pursuit, and playing good football.
They're down. Raiders need 14. Now the whistle blows, and there might be a procedure penalty. Illegal motion against the Raiders is the preliminary signal. And that'll make it third down and 19. Here's Walt Coleman, the referee.
False start prior to the snap. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
James Jett was in motion early.
Yeah, a lot of times those wide receivers, you don't see it too often. A lot of times those wide receivers, they get a little bit too anxious, and they're going to jump before the ball snapped, and that's what happened that time with Jett. A little too eager to get into that pass pattern.
And that brings up third down and 19 for the Raiders. Jeff George looking to screen the ball. He's in trouble, and they get Jeff George back at the 15-yard line. As Michael Sinclair, the Pro Bowl defensive end for the Seahawks, gets his 10th sack of the year. I think you said something, Jim. The Seahawks are very much in this game.
Well, they sure are, and this is a good rush by Sinclair. All he does there, he just beats Lincoln Kennedy man for man. He just keeps coming through that outside shoulder. Actually, the Raiders had a little screen set up, but George couldn't get it away. That's a heck of a play by Sinclair, going to the Pro Bowl this year for the second time in a row.
Last year when he went, they told him to take it easy. He was playing like it was a playoff game.
Yeah.
Some other guys were over there for a Hawaiian vacation. Here is Araguz, who's punted beautifully for the Raiders this year, driving the ball downfield. Tyree Davis with an over-the-shoulder catch. Penalty marker comes in as Tyree goes down at the 31-yard line. Might have been blocked from behind. Araguz, a World Football League player, Jim.
Yeah, Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach for the Raiders, was telling me out of practice on Friday that he really likes Araguz. He said this guy has had a terrific season. He says he works hard, he's got a good attitude, he's very coachable, and he really feels good that this young guy is succeeding and having a good year. He said he's a pleasure to work with. He's got a heck of a leg, and he showed it right there.
Played for the Rheinfire.
Illegal block in the black.
Germany, and led
return
the
team number 29 during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
C.J. Richardson of the Seahawks with an illegal block as the NFL on NBC continues. Overcast day, intermittent heavy rains. Rain is falling now. The Seahawks with first down and 10, trailing the Raiders 7-3. Hand up to Lamar Smith. Not much there on the left side of the Raider defense as he's taken down to the 10-yard line. Lead tackler was Grady Jackson, number 90. Comparative numbers of the two quarterbacks. John Kitna of the Seahawks making his first NFL start. Has been intercepted twice. Jeff George with 8 of 10, but you remember he has been intercepted twice. Both were negated on penalties against the Seahawks. was run back for what would have been a touchdown by Jay Bellamy. 14-3 Raiders. Kitna fired. What a throw. He's on target, and on the run is Mike Pritchard. It's a foot race. They're going to get him, but all the way down to the 25-yard line he goes as Kitna stands in and throws a beauty to the streaking Mike Pritchard.
Kitna is getting a little pressure right here, but he hangs in there tough. Watch him right there. A little play action fake to Smith.
61
People
yards.
all around him right there. Pretty good rush by the Raiders, but he makes a nice throw there to Pritchard. Pritchard just breaks it off on a little bit of a shallow post route. It's a good throw by Kitna. You know, one of the things that Bob Bratkowski, the offensive coordinator, says is that the Raiders are having a tough time covering people. We're going to try to take advantage of it.
61-yard play, Jim. So the Seahawks start him out a challenge, trailing 14-3. The run they go. Lamar Smith looking for some place to go. He's hit from behind by one of his own guys and does get ahead to the line of scrimmage, but good pursuit by the Raiders. The strong safety, 37, James Trapp, who you'll remember has an interception earlier. He was the lead tackler. Game clock down to 4:20 to play in the first half.
You know, at the end of that play, Don, there was 2 Seattle Seahawks offensive linemen still on the ground. Now they're up now. Kevin Mawai and number 74, James Atkins. Now that's Russell Maryland, the defensive lineman for the Raiders, that's hurt a little bit there. But boy, the Seahawks cannot afford to lose any offensive linemen because they've really been banged up in that area, and it's hurt them, especially the right side of their line, because the starting offensive right guard Derek Graham, the starting right tackle Howard Ballard are both out of the game. They may miss next week, the last game of the season. You know, sometimes if you lose a couple of offensive linemen and one's on one side and one is on the other, it's not good, but it's not as bad as when there's 2 together. Now, Russell Maryland is a nose tackle. He's pursuing the play right there, gets in on the tackle. It really doesn't look like anything happened to him, but he is coming off the field with a slight limp.
Russell Maryland played on 3 Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl championship teams. He was the #1 player picked in the entire NFL back in 1991, and the year prior to that, Jeff George, the Raider quarterback, was the #1 pick in the entire league when the Colts took him.
You know, I know Chester McLaughlin made it to the Pro Bowl this year, but I really feel, and we've done a few of these Raider games, the games I've seen, I believe that Russell Maryland has been their most consistent defensive lineman. He gives you a great effort every play. He comes to play comes to work every day, comes to work every week. Played well this year, consistently well.
He's a leader. Russell Maryland out of Miami of Florida. Galloway to the lower right of your screen. Kitna taking a deep drop. The rush is on. They're going to get him. He fires an errant pass, and it's almost picked off. Rob Frederickson, an outside linebacker, 53. He was a #1 draft choice of the Raiders 4 years ago. Breaks in and almost gets the sack.
Here again, he's going to come off that right up the middle. Frederickson, number 53. Again, nobody blocks him. Now, this is a nice play by Kitna. You know, there was a guy over there in the vicinity that threw the football. Number 25, Lamar Smith. So it was an intentional grounding. But again, Kitna has pretty good presence back there and got rid of the football. That Seahawk line's going to have to do a better job of protecting him.
3rd down and 7 for John Kitna in the Seattle offense. He fakes. He loops the ball. He comes in too high, trying to lob it to Lamar Smith, who would have had the first down and maybe a lot more. But again, Kitna comes in high, and so the field goal unit comes out for the Seahawks.
I think one of the characteristics of a young quarterback is inconsistency. Now, he's had some great throws. That throw to Pritchard earlier in this drive was an excellent throw. Now, right there, a little dink throw, a very easy one he's too high with. So he's inconsistent. When he has been off, it's normally been too high. So he's got to relax a little bit, come down with his throws, and I think he'll do much better.
Now it's Peterson, Todd Peterson, who hits from 35 yards for the Seahawks' only point so far. 40-yard attempt is on the way. There's a penalty marker down. As you see, the kick is up and good if it goes. So Peterson continues his good kicking for the Seahawks. Let's see what Walt Coleman says, the referee.
Encroachment on the defense.
Good.
5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
No, it was 4th down. It's not enough for a 1st down. It's 4th and 7. So if, will they go for it on 4th and 2, they'll get the down over.
I think you kick it again. Yeah, they're going to kick it again.
The kick was no good. Looked good.
Right. No, it did. It looked good to me, too. I figured, hey, and I saw Dennis Erickson over on the sideline. He had his hands up like it was good, but it wasn't good, so they're going to kick it again.
They're straight but low, so they will get another shot at it. That brings up 4th down and 2, though the hold this time will be at the 25-yard line. 35-yard attempt. Wow. Ball's alive in open field. Picked up. And the Raiders have the ball at midfield. Looked like Grady Jackson, a rookie from Tennessee, Knoxville, was the guy who got a hand on the kick and blocked it.
Well, Dennis Erickson's over there shaking his head because the special teams for the Seahawks have not played very well the last 4 or 5 games. They come right up the middle. That's the place where you've got to be most solid. Occasionally you can let a guy come off the corner because it's hard to block it off the corner. You've got to be solid right across that middle. And boy, they do a good job there with Kevin Johnson and Grady Jackson, 98 and 90. Pull their way right up the middle, get their hands on the ball. See, that's just a breakdown by the Seahawks special teams. That's not a difficult thing to do, is to protect that field goal kicker in the middle of the offensive line.
That was a low kick also. Here's a handoff. Raiders go to the run. And Napoleon Kaufman takes it to the 48-yard line. Last week at Baltimore, Jermaine Lewis, a second-year kick returner, had 275 yards in kick returns against the Seattle Seahawks. 5 punt returns for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns. 3 kickoff returns for over 90 yards. The Seattle offense totally had 2 yards less than Jermaine Lewis on returns. They only have 273 yards offense. Rain is stopped. It's been on and off. Game clock under 3 minutes in the first half. Jeff George steps up, makes a throw. Inside the 25-yard line. Beautifully done. A gain of 23 yards on the play.
It looked to me like the Seahawks were in a zone blitz where you rush players, 5 players, and drop 6 into coverage. And as I mentioned earlier, when you drop 6 people, you're going to void a zone. If you've got time, if you protect, if you pick up the rush, you're going to find a guy open. And George found Brown open there for a big pickup there. Big game. Good pickup by the Raiders.
Tim Brown with 3 catches for 53 yards. He has 89 catches for the season. He has over 1,200 receiving yards. Dudley down to the 5-yard line. A gain of 18 yards and a first down. Bellamy puts out a heavy-duty hit, but Ricky Dudley holds on, and the Raiders challenge 1st and goal.
Well, again, as you get down into the red zone, he's looking for the tight end, and Dudley's going to come right into the middle right there. He takes an outside release. The guy that's got to do a job right there is number 95, Wells. He's got to get better depth and be in a position where George cannot throw the football to the tight end, and if he does throw it to him, he's got to be too high. Wells was not deep enough in the coverage.
Napoleon Kaufman swings out of the backfield. Jeff George fires near side, and it caroms off the rookie, Chad Levitt, the first-year player from Cornell, who was second all-time in Ivy League rushing with almost 5,000 yards. Now we're down to the 2-minute warning, and the NFL on NBC continues in a moment. Where the Raiders are challenging again. Jeff George with 2 touchdown throws today. Leading 14-3. 2nd down and goal from the 5. George stands in. Sidelines the ball for a touchdown to Dudley. Ricky Dudley makes the catch. Jeff George ups his season numbers to 28 touchdown throws against just 9 interceptions.
Well, that's the very same pattern that they ran for an earlier touchdown to Dudley. They just hook him in there into the open zone. Seattle's playing a zone defense down there, trying to cover that whole end zone, and they just send Ricky down there, Dudley down there, and he just kind of finds the open area, turns around, and George hits him with the pass.
George was telling us yesterday he appreciates the max protection they've been affording him, trying to keep him healthy. But he said he wants to open up the offense, so they put the wide receivers flexed out. A lot of different looks and a lot of points for the Raiders, 21-3. The Raiders will kick off when the NFL on NBC continues. Ray Perkins, former head coach of the Giants. Jeff George with 3 touchdown throws, and there is the head Raider, Al Davis. A tough year for Al and the Raiders, but certainly a good result so far today.
Good results today, especially offensively. You know, this is kind of back to what they were doing earlier in the season. Big plays, scoring a lot of points.
Down on the foreground was Al's brother Jerry. Steve Broussard takes the ball to the 6-yard line. Turns it wide. And gets out to the 26-yard line with just 1:49 left to play. Reminding you that the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report is coming up with Greg, Joe, Chris, and Sam. The playoff picture coming more and more into focus with 1 week to go. Yesterday when we met with the young quarterback for Seattle, John Kitna, it was interesting, Jim. He kept emphasizing to us, I'm not a nervous person. I'm not a guy that gets uptight. We started to get nervous listening to him.
I know. You know, that's the first thing he said. He says, I'm confident. He says, I'm kind
calm.
of, I'm calm. I'm laid back. And he says that it looks like I'm confident. He said, I got confident by my success in the preseason. He had an excellent preseason. And also with his success in the World League. He said that's what has built up his confidence.
Broussard, that is down on one knee. Steve Broussard, the Seattle runner, shaken up. Dennis Erickson is in a difficult position as we look at how Broussard takes his shot here. Erickson in his 3rd year as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, a guy who has lost 11 starters since late October to injuries. A lot of speculation about his future. The last thing he does is try to campaign, and would you talk about me being a good coach, and he doesn't ever bring it up, but this is a good coach.
I think he's an outstanding football coach. As they said, there's talk about him not being retained next year. I think it would be a major, major mistake if Dennis Erickson was not retained as the head coach of the Seahawks. He's got 2 more years on his contract. He's done an excellent job with his football team. A few weeks ago, they were a playoff contender. The fact that they're not now, not his fault, simply a matter of a lot of serious injuries. This guy's a good football coach, and he'll get this team going. They're a much better football team now than they were when he took over.
They are that. And we have reason to believe Warren Moon will come back next year if Erickson is still the coach. Kitna throws, makes a connection to Joey Galloway, knocked down to the 30. Joey, not a coach's favorite this week. He was on a talk show on ESPN, and the interviewer, Chris Myers, brought up the fact that George Seifert, the ex-49er coach, is rumored as a possible successor to Erickson, and would he like that? He said that'd be great to play in the West Coast offense. The Seattle coaches weren't talking to Erickson this week. Look at that throw, but it's off the hands of James McKnight, who's delivered a late hit. Rob Fredrickson getting a shot in late, so that'll move the ball further downfield with still 1:21 to play.
That was a nice throw there by Kitna. Had some protection. It was a nice throw. Again, the league is trying to protect receivers. They're trying to protect receivers when they're in a position where they can't protect themselves. And this was a good call by the official because the ball was clearly dropped. Fredrickson had an opportunity to see that it was dropped, and he came up and laid a shot on McKnight. So this was a bad decision by Fredrickson and a good call by the official.
He had moved the ball out to the 46-yard line. Now they put Kitna in the shotgun where he might have been better served being there earlier. Gets a better look downfield against all these blitzes. Here's a throw and a catch. Turning upfield is Lamar Smith, who gets out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 49-yard line after a gain of almost 7.
As I mentioned regarding when we were talking about Dennis Erickson just a moment ago, that I really feel like this football team, had they not have suffered the injuries that they've suffered, would still be a playoff contender, perhaps already made a playoff berth. But you can see the guys that they've lost. Chad Brown, a starter. Winston Moss, a starter. Benny Blades, a starter. And other guys that are back playing today, like Galloway and Phillip Daniels, missed considerable time during the season.
Just saw Warren Moon. He's got some rib problems. They go to a draw play. The Raiders aren't buying it, though. They stuff Broussard. And timeout is quickly signaled for and allotted. The Seahawks using their first timeout as they start up a bit after the play. 1:08 to play here at Oakland. Out of Clemson, now in his 6th year, 320 pounds. He was the #1 choice in '92. Speculation continues about Chester's future here. He said they haven't approached him about a new contract. He's up after this year.
Yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent after this season, and I'm sure that he's going to be looking at a big pay raise, a big contract for the future. Said he wants to stay in Oakland, but if they don't get with it here pretty good, I'm sure he's going to be looking around.
Kitna setting up in the shotgun. It is 3rd down in the long 6. Now there are markers down at the line of scrimmage. Game clock showing 1 minute and 4 seconds to play. First half.
It looked like Mike Pritchard, who was lined up in the slot, then moved prior to the snap, Don. That's what they're calling. That's what the official's calling.
Just informed that the official's mic is dead. So Coleman can't tell us what's happening, but it's going to be 3rd down and 10 now as the ball is positioned back at the 45-yard line of the Seahawks. John Kitna, 6'2 and a half, 215 pounds. Wanted to play for the Mariners when he grew up in Tacoma. Went to Lincoln High School there. There's Kitna on the run. And he dives down to the 47-yard line with 1:01 left to play, and another timeout is signaled for. With 57, now the clock is still running. They're not calling a timeout. In their wisdom, I guess, with the 4th down coming up, and not wanting to give the Raiders any time to work with, they'll let it run down. So Dennis Erickson will take his Seahawks to the locker room down 21-3.
You mentioned Kitna weighing 215 pounds. You know, he said when he graduated from high school, nobody recruited him. He weighed 155. He was the same height as he is now, 6'2", weighed 155. And prior to Christmas, his freshman year, he put on 30 pounds.
The punt hit downfield by Ron Stark. Orlando Truitt lets it hop. And it rolled down inside to the 10-yard line with just 12 seconds to go in the first half.
As you mentioned earlier, Don, Ron Stark, this is his 16th year in the National Football League. You know, he's the first in the all-time history of the NFL. He's number 1 of punts down inside the 20. Now that punt there was down on the 10-yard line. That's inside the 20-yard line. That's critical as far as field position. He has 268 now going into this game. It was 266. He's had 2 today inside the 20. 268 punts down inside the 20. That's first all-time in the history of the National Football League.
And that is impressive. He was a decathlete at Florida State, Ron Stark. A lot of great years with the Colts. The Raiders go into a protect formation. They'll just down the ball as the sun breaks through again, and they'll take their winnings to halftime locker room as it's a 21-3 game. And so Jeff George, with 3 first-half touchdown passes, builds the lead to 21-3. Now we're going to send it to the NFL and NBC in New York, where Greg Gumbel is standing by. Was stopped, but now the rain is stopped. But now the rain is stopped. And here comes Orlando Truitt with the touchdown reception, running the kickoff back, and the ball is on the field. It looks like the Seahawks say they have it. They're quite sure of it, but you never know until the striped shirt says yes.
Like we've mentioned before, there's a lot of wrestling around that goes on underneath that pile, and well, the Seahawks got it.
Looks like Tim Hawk of the Seahawks stripped the ball.
Here comes Truitt. Now, he's got that ball in that inside arm. Yeah, Tim Hawk tackles him from behind, and as he does so, he strips the ball out of Truitt's arms with that right arm of Hawk. When you're carrying that football like that, you've got to anticipate or assume the fact that somebody's going to come up from behind you and strip that ball, and you've got to protect it at all times. It's a critical turnover by the Raiders, unexcusable turnover, not a vicious tackle by any sense, carelessness on the part of Truitt.
Big turn of events on the opening kickoff of the second half, and now the Raiders burn a timeout. They were short of safety.
They only had 10 guys on the field, and Eric Turner saw that and called timeout.
The Coors Light halftime statistics. Turnovers were vital in the first half. They quickly turned the 2 interceptions of Kitna into touchdowns.
Yeah, Oakland was lucky because they actually threw 2 interceptions, one for a touchdown, and on both interceptions, the Seahawks defensive linemen were offside, so they brought it back, and it didn't count. They took it away from the Seahawks. This is Fred Whittingham, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, has been under tremendous pressure and criticism this year because of the poor play by the Raider defense. They're last in total defense. They're last in passing defense, way down at the bottom in running defense. They've been a big disappointment.
If the Seahawks can get it in the end zone after this turnover, this could be a whole different game. Right now, the Raiders in command 21-3. Kittner with a quick drop, throws an out pattern, throws it well. Ball is taken by McKnight. He's down inside the 30-yard line and close to a first down. So it looked like they knew right where they wanted to go on that first time he was going to throw the ball, right to a quick timing pattern.
Right, and right here he knows exactly how many yards Knight's going to run before he does his out route, and Kittner was actually maybe just a hair slow there, but pretty good throw for a young quarterback, and that's a tough pattern to defend, and it's a pretty easy pattern to complete. And like you said, Don, it's a timing route, and that quarterback anticipates. He knows exactly where the break's going to come, and he's going to get that ball there, and the receiver's job to get there in time to catch it.
And close enough that they bring out the markers to see if he did indeed get the first down. He is going to be inches short, brings up second down and short. John Kittner from Central Washington, out of Lincoln High School in Tacoma, making his first NFL regular season start. He might have had the best quarterback rating in the entire NFL in the preseason, just extraordinary numbers, but as he and his coaches said, a lot of it was against guys who were going to be cut. You know, you're playing late in the preseason game against backups. Today, real bullets are flying out there as Chris Warren runs the ball and bangs down to the 25-yard line. He has a Seattle first down. Lance Johnstone, a defensive end, made the stop.
Yes, I think how you mentioned earlier, his stats in the preseason, he was 42 of 51, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception for a quarterback rating of 125. Now, if he had those kind of stats now, he'd be the leading passer in the National Football League. But again, it's a big difference between playing against starters and backups that some of them won't even make the team.
Kittner made the team, though, as the third quarterback. Here's a throw and a catch to Pritchard, the former All-American from Colorado. Makes the grab at the 13-yard line. James Trapp levels him hard, but it is a first down for the Seahawks.
Well, again, as we mentioned a number of times, Kittner continues to show good poise and confidence here. This is a little bootleg fake by him, and they were going to move him around. They felt like this was one of the things they needed to do differently with him as opposed to Warren Moon, with bootlegs and kind of a controlled sprint out, move him in the pocket so he couldn't just stand back there and drop back action and take hits.
He is very mobile, and there's a penalty marker down before the snap of the ball. Carlester Crumpler, starting tight end for the Seattle Seahawks, will not play in the second half. A report from the Seahawks bench, he got poked in the eye, I guess, in the first half, so he is going to be held out in the second half.
Neutral zone infraction on the defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Here's it's the defensive left end, Darrell Russell, who jumps right before the snap. But, you know, it looked to me like he got back on time. If you jump and get back on time before the ball snapped, it shouldn't be a penalty. Perhaps he didn't get quite far enough back.
But it is first down and 5 for a first down and 7 for a touchdown. Here's a timing throw. Wide open is Joey Galloway. And his 61st catch of the season is for his 10th touchdown of the year. As all of a sudden, Kittner's confidence is sky high, beating Albert Lewis.
You know, Galloway runs a nice route here. There he is at the top, at the left side of your screen. No, I'm sorry, that was the outside receiver. Galloway came from inside, and Albert Lewis again had decent coverage, but it was a heck of a throw by Kittner.
Trailing now by a count of 21-9. Looks like they're going to line and go for 2 points. You have that printout, Jim. When you go for 2, and apparently this is one of the times you do. It will be a 10-point difference if they make it work. Raiders are going to shoot people at Kittner. He's going to be throwing. Rolling out. Takes a look. He's in trouble. And he throws it away. So the Seahawks come up empty on good defense by the Raiders. But it is a touchdown for the Seahawks, and they'll kick off when the NFL and NBC continues. California, Darth Vader. Warren Moon, the oldest quarterback in the league, giving some encouragement to the young starter. Getting feeling good about his first NFL touchdown throw.
Probably finding a way to hang on to that ball.
Here's the kickoff downfield. That's Orlando Truitt. He's running it back again. You remember the last time he fumbled it. And Truitt bangs across the 30 and gets out to the 32-yard line as we check the NBC 10-minute ticker. Looks like the Colts are not that interested in Peyton Manning or whoever the quarterback's supposed to be. You're going to get with the #1 pick. The Jets very much in the playoff hunt.
It's amazing to me that two teams like Tampa and Miami, all they got to do is win today, and they're in the playoffs, and they get totally blown out by inferior teams.
It is remarkable. Every game is hard to win in this league. People always talk about that. As Detroit comes from behind in the closing seconds to send the Vikings to their 5th loss in a row. Handoff goes straight ahead, and there's not much going on as another penalty is thrown before the snap of the ball. Atlanta's as hot as any team in the league. They were off to a 1-7 start. Now they're 7-8.
Ball start. Prior to the snap, offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
I figured Green Bay would beat Carolina today. Carolina's hung in there tough. They had a good win a week ago on Monday night against the Cowboys, and they were still in the playoff hunt, but they're going to be out of it today after they lose to Green Bay, and it looks like they're going to.
The pre-snap penalty called against the Raiders gives them first down and 15 just across their 25. George swings the screen, but flat pass out, and coming out of the backfield and catching the ball nicely is Napoleon Kaufman.
What they did there, Don, is they matched up Napoleon Kaufman on James Logan, number 56, the right outside linebacker. Logan is not the normal starter. The normal starter there, here's Logan right there, see, and he kind of gets sucked up in there with the run fake. He was looking inside at the backfield. He didn't see Kaufman come out into the flat. He was a step late, and they hit Kaufman.
One of the things Jeff George talked about was getting Kaufman into the open field with more spread formations to use his speed and great quickness. Another pre-snap call could be against the Raiders, coming early here in the third quarter with 12:06 to play in it.
Start. Prior to the snap, offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Pat Harlow, the left tackle. He too a former #1 draft choice of the Patriots.
One of many. You know, Bugle usually likes to run the football, and we asked him yesterday, well, you know, what do you got to do here to beat these guys? He said, we're going to throw the football, which is an unusual for him. He says, we get good matchups against these guys, our offense against their defense, and we got to take advantage of it.
Handoff. Hoffman looking for room to go. Good open field tackling, knocks him out of bounds. No place to go for Napoleon Kaufman, the former University of Washington great.
And what happened here initially was Dean Wells, the middle linebacker. He's going to come on a blitz right there. He gets penetration. It makes Kaufman have to deepen as he tries to get around the left side. And when he deepens like that, it gives time for the inside pursuit to get out there and get in on the tackle. So the blitz by Wells, number 95, had a real strong effect on that play.
Kaufman getting a lot of work, Jimmy. Really struggled last week. Had only 7 yards on 8 carries, and he fumbled the ball once against Kansas City. Jeff George throws, and he has got an open man. Running in the open field is Orlando Truitt. And he's out across the 30 on a 3rd down and 19 play, though. He's going to come up short of the first down. So the Raiders will have to punt the ball.
The Seahawks didn't want to get into too many man-to-man situations today against the Raider receivers. So what they did that time on 3rd and 19, they actually blitzed a couple linebackers, but played zone behind it. So they knew that they could come up and make the tackle and still put the Raiders in a 4th down situation by playing zone defense, and that's what they did.
Talking about Kaufman, the odds have come tough today. 14 carries for just 27 yards. The punt. Beautifully hit downfield by Araguz. Tyree Davis of the Seahawks takes it at the 15-yard line. looking to get out of trouble, and he finally is knocked out of bounds at about the 21-yard line. And another penalty marker comes in after the play. Landon Truitt might have taken a swing at somebody. We're going to see it on replay. He was held at the time, and then he takes a swing, as we'll see.
51 yards on the punt.
Yeah, he's the forcer to the right side. They've got two guys on him right there, and they do a good job. Their job is to keep him from getting downfield. Do whatever you can. Bother him, push him, shove him, block him, knock him down right there. Number 29, Richardson's doing a nice job, although I think he grabs him a little bit. But see what happens right there? Truitt takes a shot at him after the play. That's the guy that's always going to get caught. It's tough sometimes, but you got to keep your poise, because if you're the guy that's going to give the last shot, no matter what happens before, most of the time the official's going to see you, and he's going to throw that flag.
Well, the officials, I mean, they've been throwing the flag more than they have not been throwing it today. Orlando Truitt's a good player, though, a lot of ability. Out of Mississippi State.
On the return team, number 86, during the kick. Then we have a personal foul on the kicking team, number 88. By rule, those penalties offset at the spot of the foul. First down.
See, had Truitt not retaliated there, it would have been just a penalty on Seattle.
So on the replay, throw the punch. He's gone. His day's work is completed.
It sure is. You know, when a player does get ejected, as he was, they cannot stay on the sidelines. They have to leave the stadium. They have to leave the bench area. Here he is right there. See, he's actually getting pushed around pretty good by number 29, Richardson. But totally after the play is over, he takes a shot in the head with that forearm, and they're going to penalize for him. Not only that, they threw him out of the game. That's Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach right there. He's upset, but I know Rusty, and he doesn't stand for that kind of stuff. He certainly doesn't coach it, and I'm sure that he's upset with Truitt, not for the fact that he got kicked out, but for the fact that he retaliated like that. You've got to keep your poise. This is a physical game. It's an emotional game. Sometimes you feel like you're being held and things like that, so you take a shot, but you got to pay the price when you do.
The pace of ejection, and so he's out. One forearm, one ejection as John Kitna stands in, fires the ball downfield, almost picked by Albert Lewis, and he'd be right in the end zone with the ball had he been able to catch it. Trying a deep out to Joey Galloway.
Well, Albert Lewis is in his 15th year in the National Football League. I was watching him on the practice field on Saturday. He's as good a looking physical specimen as a defensive cornerback as I've ever seen. I mentioned him, I said, I've been coaching for a long time. I said, we never had a corner that looked like you. And he loves to play. He still wants to play. He says his enthusiasm is high. He says when he loses his enthusiasm, that's when he'll give it up. But right now he's got a lot of enthusiasm and wants to keep playing.
Chris Warren gets some yards. He's ahead on a 2nd down and 10 play for a gain of about 6. And he was also interesting when he was talking about before the Kansas City game. He thought some of the younger Raiders had kind of a cavalier attitude in the locker room, and he went up to him and said, you know what the Chiefs are talking about in that locker room across the hall? Because he did play for the Chiefs. I've been in that locker room. So they're talking about how they're going to kick our butts.
That's right. He knows that they were going to be a lot more mentally prepared and emotionally prepared than what he saw out of some of his teammates with the Raiders.
Third down for Kitna. Raiders sending the linebackers on a blitz. It's picked up, a timing throw downfield, and the catch is made. Beautifully executed by John Kitna and James McKnight, the receiver who came back at the ball. So on 3rd down and 4, they hit a long gainer for a 1st down, a gain of 18 yards.
We asked Dennis Erickson yesterday about some of the receivers or some of the players on his football team that he felt were playing well for him this year, and he mentioned James McKnight. He mentioned 5 or 6, and the comment he made about McKnight, he said he's been a real pleasant surprise for us, and he's made some good plays for him this year. He's big and he can run.
And he just ran there, making the catch for the 18-yard gain. So the Seahawks drive on. They have the only score of the 2nd half. Scoring a touchdown on a Kitna's throw to Joey Galloway. Then the 2-point conversion try was unsuccessful. The score remains 21-9. The Raiders in the lead. They led at halftime 21-3. Warren has had some big years as a Seattle Seahawk. He's tailed off a bit in the recent times, although he is their leading rusher this year with over 700 yards for the season and almost 48 catches. Here's a throw as Galloway dancing ahead, gets on 2nd down and 9, ahead for a gain of 14 yards and a first down.
I think that the touchdown pass that Kitna threw on the last drive has helped his confidence right now. He seems got a little bit more swagger in his walk and his and the way he's handling himself right here. That's a nice throw to Galloway. Galloway was lined up in the slot, just ran a quick out, and Kitna hit him.
So Galloway's production starting to increase. The #1 receiver for the Seahawks. 63 catches for the year, 10 for touchdowns. Warren running at the Raiders, and he's cut down after a short gain at the Raider 38-yard line. Coming up to make the stop for the Raiders on the play was Terry McDaniel, the 10-year veteran at left corner. A lot of experience, maybe too much, some would say, about the Raider corners. McDaniel, 36 in his 10th year out of Tennessee. Albert Lewis in his 15th year out of Grambling.
Yeah, Albert Lewis is 37 years old. McDaniel is 32 years old. Eddie Anderson, a backup safety, is 34 years old. A lot of age back there, a lot of age and a lot of experience. I really believe the Raiders have to address that position here in the offseason.
Blitz up the middle. Somehow Kitten is able to get the ball away. Is shooting the gap straight up the middle of the field and almost getting him. Were 2 linebackers. But it goes as an incomplete pass, and now, Jim, a big 3rd down throw coming up for young John Kitna.
Big 3rd down throw, and you know, this is where you start to evaluate a quarterback. It's 3rd and 9. You got a pretty good drive going here. This is a key play for him. If they can get a 1st down here, at least it's going to continue to put him in field goal range. If they don't get it, they're going to have to punt. So this is a big play for Seahawks and Kitna.
His best success has been on out patterns over the middle of the field. He's had trouble. There's an out pattern and a catch and a 1st down. He does have a good-looking gun, though.
He does. He throws the ball well. When he's on target, I mean, the thing really zings in there. And this is a nice throw here because you're going to see the receiver, Pritchard, come down there, right there, and he's going to kind of hook up between the 2 defensive backs. He just turns around, and the ball's right there for the 1st down. Good timing on the throw, and Kitna knew right where he was going to be. Pritchard knew how many yards he had to get the 1st down. Good execution.
Pitch back. Warren continues to pound away, and Warren behind his blockers with a tremendous run. The NFL power sweep at its very best. On a 1st down carry, he's ahead for a gain of 13 yards and a Seahawk 1st down.
Well, here again, I think it's good blocking by the Seahawk on the right side of the Seahawk offensive line. The Raiders have chances to get him down there before he makes as many yards as he do. I think that's poor tackling. Pretty good blocking, but even more than the blocking, I think that's bad tackling by the Raider defense.
Chris Warren has been a workmanlike back. 4 straight years he was over 1,000 yards. One year he had over almost 1,600 back in '94. Throw to the corner of the end zone. Coverage is there, and in his wisdom, John Kitna throws it away. Harry Carter's really picking up his coverage skills as he gets more playing time. And Galloway pretty well screened out of the play.
Now, Carter had not been a full-time player for some of the teams he played on prior to the Raiders, but he's got a lot of playing time this year, and he looks like he's getting a little bit better. It looked to me like Kitna audibleized for that play. He changed the play at the line of scrimmage. I think he saw man-on-man coverage, thought he could beat Carter, but then when he saw Carter with the good coverage, he threw it away.
He'll throw again on 2nd down and 10. Handoff. They go to the draw play, and Chris Warren bangs down inside the 10-yard line. A power drive run down to the 9, where he's taken down by Lorenzo Lynch.
Well, here comes another critical 3rd down play because the Seahawks really need a touchdown here instead of a field goal. And they're going to have 3rd and about 4.5, and this is going to be a critical play for Kitna and the Seahawk offense. If they can get a 1st down here, take it in for a touchdown, they're going to be right back in this ball game. I mean, it'll be a heck of a ball game. They get a touchdown here.
You might want to look at his tight end, Deems May, 88. Nobody's been covering him. They haven't even looked at him to throw to him. Timing pattern, out pattern, and it's taken by Pritchard. And does he know they rule he did not have the ball in bounds?
Well, that was a tough route to complete because he led the receiver a little bit too much there, and by the time Pritchard was able to catch the football, he was not able to stay in bounds. There's Pritchard, number 85, right there. He's going to run a quick out just enough to get the first down. The ball was out a little bit too far, and Pritchard wasn't able to get both feet. There's one, couldn't get the second one in bounds.
Out of the hold of Ron Stark.
Peterson, the field goal kicker, is on the field now for the Seahawks. His first of the day was good. And then you recall the one he had blocked. This one he spins up and through. And with 5:21 left to play in the third quarter, it's now a 21-12 game, Raiders. Touchdown throws today, and the knock on Jeff George in the NFL is that he's never been a winner. Well, he has been a winner when he quarterback at Illinois. He started 24 games and they won 20. They'd love to have him back. They were 0-11 this year with the Illini. But he played with, you know, when you're the #1 pick in the league, you're usually not going to the Lombardi Packers.
That's for sure. I think Jeff George has handled himself very well this year. We've done 3 or 4 of his games, and in our interviews with him, he's always been up front and classy, and with the media this year, he seemed to have done a good job, and he certainly performed well on the field.
I have to tell you, I've never seen Jeff George where he hasn't conducted himself in a classy manner.
Well, I never knew him very well. We played against him from, you know, all those years when he was at Atlanta. We played him twice a year, and I was always had a great deal of respect for him as a passer, but never got to know him as a person. But getting to know him a little bit this year, when we talked to the players before the games, I've gotten even more respect for him because he's done well.
On the return team, number 54.
He's got a quarterback rating that's going to approach 100 after what he's done so far today. The network television premiere, Congo, 9, 8 Central, NBC tonight. Jeff George takes a drop, looks, and he is sacked back at the 13-yard line. So George had nowhere to go, really, as they say, Jim Moore, a coverage sack.
A coverage sack, and you know what? The Seahawks were in the most basic coverage in football, just a 4 under. They've got 4 guys in the short zones and 3 deep, 3 guys in the deep zone. Just the guys dropping off into very basic coverage. They did a good job because George could find nobody open, and they got the sack. Again, the Seahawks are keeping it simple defensively on 1st and 2nd down.
It's 2nd down now. They need 10, do the Raiders. By the run, and Kaufman is shut down for no gain.
Well, this is a critical series for the Seahawks because they've got the Raiders backed up inside the 15-yard line. They've had 2 really good plays on defense. If they can make them punt here, they're going to come away with good field position.
One of the things the Seahawk linebackers have been doing, like Wells on that play, is kind of under pursuing and waiting for him to cut back to him.
That's right, and that's what they've got to do when you play a player like Kaufman, because he's such an excellent cutback runner. You cannot over pursue. That's the worst thing you can do against a guy like Napoleon Kaufman, is over pursue with your linebackers and your defensive linemen.
Big down now. Raiders need 10 on 3rd down. Bellamy coming up to blitz, the strong safety. Here he comes. He gets a clean shot at George and takes him down at the 6-yard line.
I tell you what was amazing about that play to me. Jeff George saw Jay Bellamy come up to the line of scrimmage. Jay Bellamy, number 20 there, the strong safety. He came up to the line of scrimmage prior to the snap like he was going to blitz. You'll see him here. There he is, coming right up there. There he is. Jeff George sees him. He sees him. He's going to audibilize or make an adjustment. And here comes Bellamy, and nobody blocks him. Jeff George doesn't get rid of the ball, and he gets sacked. Now, you'd think that offensively, if you know the guy's coming, you're going to do something to take advantage of it and get rid of the football anyway.
Tyree Davis is back. He could give the Seahawks very good field position. A well-hit punt by Araguz. It drives Tyree Davis back to his 43. Looks for room to go. Turns the corner. Gets it upfield, tight ropes the sideline, and they'll spot him out of bounds at the 49-yard line of the Raiders. There also is a penalty marker down again.
The penalties on the kicking game are really tough because it sets you back. You get a good return like that. I don't know what the penalty is, but if it is on the Seahawks, it's going to hurt their excellent field.
There's no foul on the play. No foul on the play.
51-yard punt and an 18-yard return. Hello? Anyone home?
I don't know. Is he
Anybody
asleep?
in there? Is that might just be a dummy.
He hasn't moved, has he?
No, he has not.
He's not even wiggled his toes.
We're not sure what's going on there. A man who is obviously not on the edge of his seat over this one, but it's getting tighter. It's 21-12. Raiders in the lead. They led 21-3. Kittner with another timing throw. He gets James McKnight. The old adage, Jim Moore, of taking what they give you. They give him a 6-yard gain.
Yeah, the Raiders play a lot of 3 deep. Yeah, there's Steve Broussard being taken off the field. He got hurt on the play previous to this. I don't know what it is yet, but like you say, taking what they give you. The Raiders play a lot of 3 deep. They play a lot of man-to-man, and when you play those coverages, you're susceptible to the outs by the wide receivers.
Kittner, end around. Here's the super fast Galloway. Raiders are there to get. Man, look at Albert Lewis.
You talk about a tackle. That's how you tackle in football. Yeah, that was a great tackle by Albert Lewis. You don't see tackles like that very often.
It's about as good as you can tackle.
Perhaps we can hear it here. Here he comes. I don't know if we heard the tackle or all the people yelling. That's who said the coach at Philly said that's a woo tackle. When you see the tackle, they go woo.
Everybody go through. Ray Rhodes. Third down. They need just over 3 to the Seahawks. Throw, catch, first down to Pritchard. He's to the 35-yard line. Another good timing throw as Kittner's confidence grows as this game wears on.
See what happens here. Lewis sees the guy he's covering Galloway. Here comes Lewis. Here comes Lewis right there. He's covering Galloway on the other side. So when Galloway starts to come on the reverse, Lewis just runs with him. So he knew it was reverse right away. So he just came and he ran right through Galloway.
More than any team in football history, the Seahawks have had good fortune with free agent quarterbacks. Jim Zorn, a free agent. He was a great one. Then David Craig, another free agent. And now free agent John Kittner might be the man of the future.
He sure might be, and that's an excellent point, Don, about Zorn and Craig. Both those guys undrafted, probably not given much of a chance to even make the team when they came to the Seahawks. I know David Craig.
On the defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I know David Craig wasn't given any chance to make the team because I was coaching with the Seahawks when he came in as a rookie free agent. Well, really, we just brought him in and signed him to be an extra camp arm so we wouldn't wear out Zorn's arm and the other 2 quarterbacks we had. He ends up making the team and still playing.
18 years later. You have a storied tradition in Seattle, coaching at UW and with the Seahawks. First down and 5 after the call against the Raiders. Kittner stands in, dumps it over the middle. Chris Warren fielding the ball beautifully, came to the wrong side. And the sure-handed Warren, with his 45th catch of the year, is ahead for a Seahawk first down. John Kittner's wife, Jennifer, on the left there, and his dad, Martin, must be feeling better about things.
They don't. His wife might be thinking about Jordan, their young 6-week-old son, but I'm sure she's excited about this.
Even Jordan might be up watching the game by now.
I hope so.
It's back, Chris Warren, great play. That is Darrell Russell, the All-American from Southern California. He was the 2nd player picked in the last draft after Orlando Pace went to the St. Louis Rams.
And he's been a good player for him this year as a rookie. You know, he might be the youngest player in the NFL. He's only 21 years old. 21 years old, and he's very impressive specimen physically. He's big lower body, big leg. He's playing defensive end. His best position would be inside at defensive tackle. But they've got to get their best 4 guys on the field, and they've got Maryland and McLaughlin inside, so they play him outside.
Here's a pass. Fourier. They finally go to the tight end, and Christian Fourier works ahead on the final play of the 3rd quarter. And he's going to be short of the first down. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Playing time, you got to get your exercise somehow, so he rides the exercise bike as the game wears on.
Well, you know, he was the one that was burned on that first touchdown pass to Pruitt, so maybe he's working on his speed there.
Get in there on a real bicycle to cover. Kitna with his team challenging a big third down from the shotgun. He's going to run it himself, and Kitna takes it straight ahead, and he has a first down for the Seahawks. He had to get to the 10, and he's inside the 10-yard line.
Well, that was a good call by Bob Bratkowski, the coordinator, because that was a planned quarterback draw. That wasn't a scramble. That wasn't a pass. That was a planned quarterback draw. They knew that when you get down here, the Raiders play man-to-man defense. When they play man-to-man defense, those defensive backs are running off with the receivers. You get a crease in the middle of that defensive line, you got some running room, and that's what happened there.
The quarterback is up. He's all right. Kitna, who ran the ball, looks like Kevin Mawai, the very good center for Seattle, is shaken up. They've had so many injuries in their offensive line. The right tackle Howard Ballard's out. The right guard Derek Graham is out, as Frank Beatty and James Atkins start in their places.
I'm not sure who comes in here and plays
they're
center.
Really thin.
If Mawai can't play, I don't know who the backup center
Beatty is
right.
normally. But
Beatty, yeah, well, that's right. Beatty would come in, and then somebody would have to go in there and guard for Beatty. You know, Mawai is going to be a free agent this year. A lot of people think that he might be the free agent that the Seahawks most ought to look at re-signing as opposed to Lamar Smith. But I think Lamar Smith and Kevin Mawai, who's down on the field injured right now, their center, are two guys that the Seahawks really need to get back next year. And both of them are going to be unrestricted free agents at the end of the season.
Mawai's been a real standout. You saw Beatty on the far sideline practicing his snaps to the quarterback Kitna. They don't want to foul up anything down close like this as they're starting to challenge. Down in the game 21-12, but they've shut out the Raiders so far in the second half.
See, if now Beatty has to go in at center, then you got to bring in a new right guard, and that weakens even more that right side. They've already got two backup players playing at right guard and right tackle.
Mawai jumps into the pile here, number 52.
Yeah, he just
the Raider dives on him.
He just kind of dove into the pile there. I don't know what happened.
So Mawai is still down, as we have the Raiders trying to galvanize their defense down close to their goal line. Now we have a moment. Will Chester McLaughlin talking things over with Joey Galloway. Kansas City Chiefs winning today at San Diego will go to 12-3. Pittsburgh with that dramatic win in overtime yesterday at New England, 11-4. New England is right back in the chase, though, because of Miami's blowout loss at Indianapolis today. Colts are not a good team to play at home. Ask Green Bay. They beat the Packers there.
That's right. You know, Miami plays New England next week. If the Jets win next week, and the Jets control their own destiny, if the Jets win next week, the loser of the New England-Miami game will not make the playoffs. The Jets would make the playoffs. The winner of the New England-Miami game would make the playoffs. The loser would not make it. But that all depends upon how the Jets do. The Jets have got to win to make that happen.
It won't be easy, boy, playing the Lions at Detroit when their playoff chances are on the line. First down and goal. Kitna changes the play. Raiders setting up to blitz. He might go to the draw. Quick timing throw into the end zone. He's got a man and he overshoots him. James McKnight going for the ball. Can't get to it.
Well, it was an all-out blitz. The Raiders were bringing about 7 players there on the pass rush, so they were in man-to-man coverage, and the pickup was pretty good. Kitna had to, he had to get rid of it somewhat quickly, but the Seahawks actually did a pretty good job of blocking the blitz. But he had to throw it quickly and threw it a little bit too high. Again, most of his throws today when they've been off have been high.
Second down and goal at the 10-yard line. Warren breaking off tacklers, and he's going in. Chris Warren breaks 3 tackles and takes it into the end zone. And all of a sudden, the Seahawks, who were down at one point 21-3, find themselves down by just 3 points with the extra point coming up.
You know, last week, I looked at the game films last week when the Raiders played the Chiefs, and there was a play where Bennett, the running back for the Chiefs, ran right up the middle from about the 9 or 10 yard line. The Raiders had 4 or 5 shots to tackle him, didn't get him down. He bowled in for a touchdown. Very similar to this play today. Again, the Raiders do not tackle well. They just don't tackle well.
The extra point is driven through, and Todd Peterson now brings the Seahawks to within 2 points. They'll kick off when the NFL on NBC continues. The Bay Bridge connecting San Francisco and the roadway to Oakland. Raiders fans are starting to wonder now. A couple of guys that could be former nose tackles. In the second half, Seattle has outscored the Raiders 16-0 after trailing 21-3 at halftime. It's a 2-point Raider lead. Joe Aska runs the ball straight ahead and takes it to the 26-yard line. And there, Jeff George and the Raiders will go on offense. George with 3 first-half touchdown passes. But the offense has been so quiet in the second half. Look at those numbers, Jim.
Well, I wonder if the Raiders came out a little flat in the second half. They certainly had some good success the first half, had the game under control, and came out the second half and haven't done a thing. Now, give a little bit of credit to the Seahawks defense for rising up and doing a good job against the offense. But the Raider offense has looked very unimpressive this second half.
George is going to be opening it up pretty soon. Getting the ball downfield as he did earlier. He might look him right now. He's looking down. He gets time. He has to swing it out. He gets the ball to Chad Leavitt, his rookie fullback, who makes the catch, but for a gain of only about 3 yards. And number 20, Jay Bellamy, who's having a good time out there, making plays all over the field. He likes this starting role.
He likes his starting role, and when we did an earlier Seahawk game, and Blades was playing but hurting, the coaches said that Blades was more physical than Bellamy, but that Bellamy was just as good a cover guy. So, but Bellamy's played a physical game today.
He's played an excellent game out of Rutgers University. Jeff George stands in, makes a throw, it's connected, and on the run is the rookie fullback, Chad Leavitt. And he's ahead for a huge gain across midfield as Leavitt's ahead for a gain of about 25 yards and a first down.
The Seahawks were in a zone blitz. You're going to see number 98, Sam Adams, the left tackle. He's going to be dropping out into coverage, and he's got a shot to make the tackle right there on Leavitt, but he leaves his feet before he gets to the ball carrier. You got to keep your feet and run through the ball carrier. That's what happens when you drop those defensive linemen out on pass coverage. Sometimes they have a tough time on those backs in the open field.
Yeah, they didn't look like they were really even looking at him. Jeff George stands in again. He throws, and he's almost picked off. George releasing the ball as the big rush was put on. Sam Adams was coming up the middle, and Darrell Williams almost had another interception. He has 9 for the season already.
Now you're going to see Sam Adams right there get a good pass rush. We talked about the last play, how he was dropping in coverage. He rushes the passer a lot better than he does cover. Now, this was an interception that Darrell Williams should have had. He's got 9 interceptions. Pro Bowl free safety for the Seahawks.
Later on Dateline, Autumn Jackson said that Bill Cosby was her father. Then she tried to blackmail him. Now she's going to jail. But first she tells her story to NBC Dateline. That's tonight at 8, 7 Central. The Raiders lead at 1 point, 21-3 is down to 2, 21-19. Fourth quarter, 12:24 to play in it. Jeff George stands in. Here comes the rush. He fires a strike downfield for a first down. On 2nd and 10, he got the ball down to James Jett for a 13-yard gain.
Well, James Jett is going to run an in route. He's going to come down and run in right there, and he's going to lose Thomas, number 22. George makes a good throw. Thomas is just about a step late. The Seahawks got to get a little bit of pressure on George.
George with that hair trigger release. As soon as the pressure gets there, he releases it. Now they're coming with a blitz. First down. George stands in, takes a look. He's running out of time, and he throws the ball near side, incomplete at the 35-yard line. George is big, 6'4", 215 pounds, now his 8th year out of Illinois. He was the high school player of the year in Indianapolis, and then first went to Purdue.
That's right. You know, there was no secret as to what he was going to do prior to the snap because there was no backs left in the backfield. All the backs were gone. They call that an empty backfield. So it was obvious he was going to pass. The Seahawks had a blitz on, and they had a decent pressure there, good coverage. He couldn't find anybody to throw to. Now
he'll try again with 2nd down and 10 coming up. There's a blitz that's picked up nicely by the Raider blockers. George sidearming the ball, gets it down to the 26-yard line. It is a completed ball to James Jett. Good for 13 yards and a Raider first down.
Well, the Raiders are picking on Thomas, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's the guy that they're working on. They're staying away from the other side from Willie Williams. Willie Williams has been on Brown most of the day. They're picking on Thomas. Thomas is giving him a big cushion. They're hitting him underneath the cushion for first downs.
Tim Brown was out for one play. He's back in the lineup as the Raiders moving the ball for the first time in the second half with any consistency. Napoleon Hoffman breaks it up the middle. Michael Barber, number 54, kept him from going a long way as he got a shoulder on him as the Chiefs build their lead at San Diego.
Well, the Raiders are mixing it up pretty good now here. They've thrown the ball successfully a few plays. Now they're going to come with the draw play to Kaufman right up the middle. They've got a pretty good drive going right here, and this is going to be a critical drive for them. Down by 2, if they can get points on the board, it's going to force the Seahawks to do more than kick a field goal to win the game.
It's still a long way to go, over 10 minutes to play. Jeff George, quick drop, timing throw. He gets the out pattern, makes the connection to Tim Brown, who was taken down, but after a gain of only about a yard. He was quickly hit and knocked down by Willie Williams, the cornerback, and that'll bring up 3rd and short.
3rd and short, and a big down for both teams right here. If the Seahawks stop them, then they're going to have to kick a field goal. If not, then the Raiders will still got a shot at 6 points. Got a yard to go. They'll see what they do here. Run or throw. What do you think, Don? Coach Cricky, what do you think?
I think that the way that Napoleon Kaufman has not run well, I think they're going to throw the ball.
Okay.
Quick out pattern to Tim Brown to the right side.
Let's see.
There's the throw. It was to Tim Brown on the outside, but maybe I missed my calling, at least on one play, right?
Well, you guessed right about passing.
You got to kick a field goal because that means they have to score a touchdown, but Clay Ford has been iffy at best.
I think you got to kick a field goal. I don't know.
Give them a 5-point lead.
5-point lead makes them have to score a touchdown.
They have no confidence, though, in their kicking game at this point.
Now what are they going to do?
This time I think they're going to run it.
Okay.
Wide to the left to Napoleon Kaufman. Here's the rush. There's the throw. Man is open. Overshot. No flags. And the Seahawks take over the ball. Down by 2.
I still think you got to kick the field goal there. I'm not agreeing with that decision by the Raiders to. And again, you know, they looked to me like they were going for a touchdown there. Just try to pick up the first down. You don't have to get it all in one down.
They got none of it.
Okay. Willie Williams, and he's going to be covering Tim Brown. He's allowed contact within 5 yards, but he maintains contact after 5 yards. In fact, he continues to hold Tim Brown. So the officials didn't see that one, and the Seahawks got away with it. Defensive back can chuck a receiver within 5 yards. After 5 yards, no contact.
The pitch back to the big back, Chris Warren, who runs hard up the far sideline, and Warren is ahead for a good gain close to the 26-yard line. Gain of almost 9 on the play.
Well, the Seahawks got a long way to go here, but they've got plenty of time, and they've just got to maintain their poise and do a good job, not beat themselves, not have any critical penalties, not turn the ball over, just kind of move the ball down the field.
Second down, yard to go. Kittner, timing throw, good throw. He gets it to Pritchard. Pritchard, a schooled receiver, running precise routes, turning out, and Kittner delivering that tight spiral right on his numbers.
They're doing a nice job with the quick passing game, the out routes, the hooks, the little dump-off routes to the backs, the second half, and I think Kittner's doing a much better job the second half than he did the first half. Much more accurate in his throws than he was the first half.
He really is. Back to the run. Raiders stuff at this time. A first down carry by big Chris Warren is stuffed by Darrell Russell, number 96. Warren's a string of 4 successive 1,000-plus seasons ended last year when he rushed for 855 yards, but in 95 he had 1346, 94, 1545. Just over 1,000 the 2 years prior to that. Big back out of Ferrum College, started at the University of Virginia. He's 6'2", 230 pounds. Sprinter speed. He's been the lone back most of the game. Here's a throw and a catch. Straight down the field. They go to the tight end, Deems May. And May shows, if you throw it to me, I can get it for you. He's ahead for a first down.
Kidna did a nice job here because he saw he saw Fredrickson come up on the right side. He saw 43 Lorenzo Lynch come up the right side. He knew that they were going to be blitzing with Fredrickson and Lynch, so that puts man-on-man coverage on the tight end. So he knew Deems May was going to be locked up man-on-man against the Raider defensive back, and he hit Deems May for the first down.
And Warren trying for yards. Raiders gang tackling, get him after a very short game. But John Kitna, the free agent from Central Washington, continues to direct his team to 16 unanswered second-half points. They now trail 21-19.
Two things that impressed me, what the coaches said about Kitna. One is that he has a presence, a really good presence on the field, and two is that he's confident.
There's a guy with a good presence on the field when he's there. Warren Moon looking at as his young understudy steps center stage today. Kitna near side makes the connection. Big Max Strong running hard, crosses midfield. Second down and 8. He got ahead for a gain of about 7 yards.
It looks to me, Don, like Kitna's doing a much better job the second half of handling the Raider blitzes. Here again, they're going to blitz their linebackers. They're going to try to put pressure. You're going to see 55, James Folston coming off the left side. You're going to see 53, Rob Fredrickson coming on the right side. And Kitna is not bothered now by the blitzes. He's keeping his poise back there and hitting the open guy. Doing a much better job of handling that this half than he did the first half.
Very important down coming up now for John Kitna and the Seahawks. Third down, they need 2. He looks, he throws, he makes the connection to the 38-yard line. Triggering the ball into Joey Galloway against airtight coverage by Perry Carter.
You talk about sticking it in there in a critical down. They had to have that as 3rd and 3. Good coverage by the Raiders. He sticks it in there. He knows right where he's going, a 3-step drop. Look at that. It had to be right on target to be a completion, and he did it.
Kitna, Jim, has now completed 21 of 35 passes for 255 yards. His wife, Jennifer, on the left has something to smile about. He had those early interceptions, but he's looked like an established pro since. Chris Warren continues to shoulder the load of the Seattle Seahawks running game, pounding away. Finally knocked down by Chester McLaughlin. Game clock becoming a factor, as you see, winding down to 5:30 to play in the game. Dennis Erickson Seahawks, losers of 4 straight. A team absolutely undermined. Corner pinnings knocked out by injuries. These teams met October 26th in Seattle, and since then 11 different starting players for the Seahawks because of injuries. Lamar Smith is now in the backfield. Kitna takes a look. He throws. Galloway makes the catch. A very short gain down to the 32-yard line. And again, Jim, we have a big third down for John Kitna.
Another big third down play. He's had a couple in this drive, and both times he's converted. This is another key one. He's not real happy on this one because he hoped to get a little more yardage. You know, they're still in 3rd and 5 now. He wanted to get the first down or get it down to 3rd and 1 or 2. A little harder to convert 3rd and 5.
Kitna with a deep drop, swings the ball out. He's got Galloway. It's a first down for the Seahawks down inside the 25-yard line. And all of a sudden, Kitna, who looked every bit the rookie, unsure, making bad throws in the first half, now is directing his team beautifully.
Well, the Raiders are just, well, they're rushing 4 guys. They got a little stunt going on in there, but Kitna's, you know, showing a tremendous amount of poise and confidence, and Galloway gets the step on the defender, and he hits him.
Looks like a cramp. Joey Galloway building his numbers, 7 receptions today. He has 66 catches for the season, 10 for touchdowns. First down for the Seahawks. They trail by 2. Again, they do the pitch to Warren, trying the left side of the Raider defense and he is quickly submarined and knocked down for no gain. Lead tackler was the veteran Russell Maryland.
Well, you know, clock management at this point, Don, is very important for the Seahawks, because with a little over 3 minutes to go in the ball game, what they would like to do is use as much time off the clock as they can, and either, you know, get in a position to kick the field goal, but use clock time so that the Raiders don't have much time to come back and regain the lead. They want to get in position to score, but use the clock.
And they've been doing that, methodically driving the ball downfield. Chris Warren runs with the ball, and the Raiders slam the door. A loss on the play, and it's going to bring up third down in about 11. Andre Bruce, he's made a lot of plays, number 99, made that stop.
Another critical third down play. Now this puts, you know, the ball's on the 26-yard line, so if they don't make anything here, or very little, then they're going to have to settle for the field goal. This would not be an easy field goal, especially with the muddy ground.
That's right. It'd be a 43-yarder from where the ball is positioned now. The big thing that the Seahawks want to avoid and the Raiders want to get is a turnover. That'll get you a little closer.
I think the right guard, number 74, James Atkins, or the right tackle, moved. I really do. I think it's on the Seahawks.
Boy, that is a huge penalty, because if the play is not converted here, it makes it a 48-yard field goal.
See, that kills you. You just can't. Here's Atkins, number 74, and he's going to move a little bit before the snap, and this is critical right here because it takes you 5 yards back from field position. Those kind of things just absolutely drive you crazy as a coach.
One of the best plays the Seahawks had was their first of the game, that naked boot where Kidner swung the ball downfield for a 14-yard gain.
What you want to do here? Oh, get rid of that thing.
Seahawks looking for penalty call. None is forthcoming. Terry McDaniel, the veteran, was coming on the blitz.
Terry McDaniel was coming with the blitz from one side. Albert Lewis was coming with the blitz from the left side of your screen, and he's the one that gets the hit on Kitna. But here again, the penalty on Atkins in the down right before this could be critical here, because it put the field goal kicker 5 yards further back from making the field goal.
49-yard attempt by Peterson. His longest of the season is 52 yards. If it's good, the Seahawks take the lead. He's into it. He's got enough distance. And he is down the middle. A 49-yard field goal by Todd Peterson sends a Dennis Erickson into a happy mode. And the Seahawks rally back with 19 unanswered points to take the lead in the second half. This is a 49-yard field goal try. Goes straight and true, and his team takes the lead. An embattled coach has a moment of ecstasy as the ball is now kicked off by the Seattle Seahawks. Joe Aska runs it back for the Raiders, and he is hit at the inside the 10 and breaks away. Aska on the run across the 20, gets to the 23-yard line. That takes us down to 2:08 to play in the game. The Raiders looking to get in field goal position. As we look at the Miller Time game summary, 4 straight second-half scores for the Seattle Seahawks, Jim Mora.
Well, that's been the difference in the ball game. At the first half, it was all Raiders, 21-3 at halftime, and now the Seahawks have come back to take the lead, 22-21. So it's been dominance by the Seattle the second half.
Now it's Jeff George who has to show his stuff. On 1st and 10, he swings a screen pass that Napoleon Kaufman can't hold on to. And that brings the game clock down to 2:03. So you're surely, no matter what part of the field you're on now, Jim, I would think in 4-down territory, you've got to keep it going.
Yeah, you've definitely got to. You've got to. If they get to 4th down, no matter where they are, like you say, or what the 4th down yardage is, you're going to have to go for it, or you're going to run out of time. Seahawks got their best 4 pass rushers in. They've got LaBounty in at defensive right tackle for Saleh Amua. They've got 6 defensive backs in the game.
Here's Jeff George firing over the middle. He throws a strike, gets his tight end, Ricky Dudley. A 1st down. Out to the 35-yard line. Tricky with Jim Mora back at Oakland, California. The Raiders saw a 21-3 lead now evaporate. Joe Bugle's team trailing 22-21 with 1:57 left to play in the game. But the Raiders have the ball. First down and 10 at their 35-yard line. There's John Kitna. First-time starter in the regular season who's directed the comeback. Dudley makes the catch. Quick throw to the tight end, gets the ball to the 40. Raiders moving into position. They have 2 timeouts remaining to the Oakland Raiders with 1:43 playing and winding down. Again, George fires and he's almost picked off. The rule, it's no interception. There also is a penalty marker down. Gabe Bellamy says he has it. Jeff George has dodged interception bullets today. You'll remember early in the game on the opening drive of the Raiders, Bellamy intercepted Jeff George, ran it in for a touchdown, but a Seahawk was offside and the play was negated.
Holding on the defense, number 20. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Bellamy called for defensive holding, which is a 5-yard penalty and a first down.
Right, 5-yard penalty. Most defensive penalties. Here's Bellamy, right? There's Bellamy right there, and he grabs Dudley. It's not pass interference, it's holding, which is an automatic first down. Most defensive penalties are automatic first down.
A throw over the middle. On the run was Napoleon Kaufman. Dean Wells saved a very big gain. The middle linebacker making a diving ankle-high tackle. And the tackle is made at the 50-yard line, so it will be second down and 5. Raiders aligning without a huddle. You see the game clock down to 1:15 to play. The Raiders trail by 1 as Jeff George.
Pass is incomplete, intended for Napoleon Kaufman.
They're going to call Dennis Erickson wants an intentional grounding that his quarterback got early in the game.
Right, I think this was a good call by the official. Napoleon Kaufman was out there in the flat, and George was actually throwing the ball at Napoleon Kaufman. It was not intentional grounding. He was about to get sacked, and he was throwing that sucker away, but Kaufman was in the area where he threw the ball.
And he was in the tackle box.
He was in the tackle box, right.
Between the 2 tackles. Third down comes up now, an important down. Raiders will be going on 4th down if they don't convert here. George stands in. Here comes the rush. They get him. Big Sam Adams, a 300-pound defensive tackle. And even bigger Dan Saliamua crushed the pocket and overwhelmed Jeff George. Now the Raiders call timeout, down to their last chance. 4th down comes up, and they'll need about 13 yards.
Well, this is a good rush by the 2 inside defensive tackles, Sam Adams and Saliamua. Adams there takes Lester Holmes and pushes him right back into the quarterback. That sack was set up by a good rush by Sam Adams, who's had a really outstanding year for the Seahawks this year. Really a nice pass rush. He just took Lester Holmes and shoved him right back into George. And it's critical in a situation like this where you got to get in position to kick a field goal. You can't afford any negative yardage play. You can't get a sack. You got to find a way to get rid of that football.
But he didn't, and that brings up 4th down and about 14 for the first down. Raiders looking to get in field goal range. As you see, they trail 22-21. Don Criqui with Jim Moore at Oakland. Big Sam Adams, whose dad played in the National Football League for the New England Patriots. He's a former #1 pick 4 years ago out of Texas A&M. 4th down, the Raider chances on the line on this play. Jeff George takes a look, makes the throw. The ball is tipped away. And it's Fred Thomas, who was victimized last week at Baltimore, who comes up with the play of the day in the defense. As the Raiders are stopped, the Seahawks take over the ball with 1 minute left to play, and Seattle in the lead by a point.
Well, George is going to be looking for the receiver out to his left, and the Seahawks are in what they call a 2-deep coverage.
Wow,
Thomas
he got to get up.
Basically is responsible for the short route, and he's got a safety backing him up. When he's got a safety backing him up like that, he can be a little bit more aggressive underneath and go for the pick, the interception, or knocking the ball down. Good call by the defensive coaches. Good coverage by Thomas right there. You talk about a devastating defeat. This is one for the Raiders today, Don. After that 21-3 halftime lead.
They were on cruise control, it looked like.
going up against a young quarterback, John Kitna, a team that's been hurt tremendously by injuries, and with a 21-point lead, and then to lose this thing, this is not going to be good for the Raider organization, an organization that's suffered a lot of turmoil this year and certainly this week.
So Al Davis, a guy whose team has known great success in the throes of dismal seasons, they'll now fall to 4-11. And John Kitna and the other victorious Seahawks roundly congratulated. One thing about changing coaches, and the speculation surrounds a lot of coaches about what's going to happen after the season, is you're starting all over. You go back to square one. People think you fire a guy and bring in somebody else. You know, some of the greatest success stories in this league were built around coaches who were dismal failures, or so it seemed early in their careers. Now, you went to New Orleans and turned it around right away, but Tom Landry, he had a brutal record at Dallas. Chuck Noll at Pittsburgh was worse, and yet they became Hall of Fame coaches because they stuck with the system and stuck with people who knew what they're doing, like Dennis Erickson does.
All right, as I said earlier, I think it'd be a real crime to not bring Dennis Erickson back next year, and his staff. All of his staff, all of the assistant coaches, their contracts are up. Erickson has 2 more years, but I think he's got a fine group of assistant coaches, and I know he likes him, and a lot of those guys have been with him even from college days. So they need to bring Dennis Erickson back to Seattle.
Well, right now, going back to Seattle with the game ball is John Kitna. He took that snap down the ball. Time runs out. And it was going to be for Joe Bugle, another top guy in this National Football League, who was part of 2 Super Bowl championship teams as the line coach for Joe Gibbs and the Redskins. He sees his team fall to 4-11 as Kitna, as a first-time starter, is 1-0 as a starting pitcher in the NFL. We'll be back to Oakland in a moment.